Patients with side effects. Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Can you afford not to have effective video surveillance? Is your outdoor inventory at risk? Theft and vandalism can hit your bottom line hard. Stop these events before they happen. Monitor your business 24/7 with alarm detection systems. We prevent crime with live operators watching video alerts, ensuring your assets and employees are secure. It's not worth the liability when you can effectively protect what matters most. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143. Spending too much on security guards to patrol your property? With rising crime rates, guards may not be enough. And the cost, it's adding up fast. At Alarm Detection Systems, we offer a more innovative solution. Live video monitoring. Cameras provide extra coverage in even the hardest-to-reach areas. Unlike guards, they never get intimidated. Our operators watch video alerts in real time, cut costs, increase coverage, and stay secure. Call ADS at 1-630-844-6322 or visit adsalarm.com for a free demo. Alarm license number 127000143.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling and tell them AM 560 sent you to receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Bob Chivato, owner of Go Exceed and a customer of Signature Bank. By leveraging AI and machine learning, we provide data management solutions for corporations to save time and money managing their cellular devices. While we rely on machines to help us run our business, we believe personal relationships are essential. This is why we chose Signature Bank. Having a banking partner who understands our background, our business, and our priorities is fundamental to our success. Any bank can provide basic services, but having a bank that you can trust, one that looks out for you and treats your business like its own, that's irreplaceable.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly, or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Maha starts with Virago, making America healthy again. With the worst flu season in years, you need an immune system boost. The stronger your immune system, the stronger your body fights and defends against So get Virago. Virago Immune Enhancement Support is a unique blend of 23 nutraceuticals, ingredients that have been available as individual nutraceuticals, but now working in synergy to maximize their effects. Recommended by medical physicians, dentists, and other healthcare professionals, Virago is the nutraceutical cocktail for immune support. Developed to strengthen your immune system for quick response to immune challenges, for short and long-term immunity, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. It even protects your heart, kidneys, liver, all in a unique liquid supplement for better absorption. Order online at myvirago.com. That's myvirago.com. myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Quality ingredients for optimum health. Maha. Making America healthy again starts with Virago.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, now your official weather forecast.
A couple of thunderstorms could be severe, mainly late today, otherwise clouds and windy today, more humid. Those storms could also come with some downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48, and then clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So our concerns about that state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, not to mention the fate of center-right candidates running for local offices in Illinois, were well-founded, it turns out, unfortunately. Of course, Susan Crawford defeating Brad Schimmel in that state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin by more than 200,000 votes, 10 percentage points. Turned out not to be very close. It's a little early to do the post-mortem, but I suspect the conversation that were having yesterday and in days previous, discussing those some 600,000 cheeseheads who voted for Trump in 16, 20, or 24, and who Republicans and Schimmel needed to turn out, at least a 50% clip yesterday. That probably fell well short, and that's going to at least in part explain the loss by Schimmel. But if people want to weigh in on that race or others here in Illinois locally that you were watching or that you were participating in or that you were a candidate in, and if things didn't go your way, as it didn't go the way for most center-right candidates, whether you were running under the Republican banner or a local party label, from the results I looked at in suburban Cook and the Collars, not a particularly good night again. No. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Here was Elon Musk's closing argument last evening before the polls closed in Wisconsin on that state Supreme Court race.
The judge race will decide whether the Wisconsin districts get redrawn. They're going to try to gerrymander Wisconsin to remove 2 Republican seats. And as you know, the House is currently Republican by a razor-thin margin, which means that losing this judge race has a good chance of causing Republicans to lose control of the House. If you lose control of the House, there will be nonstop impeachment hearings. There will be nonstop hearings and subpoenas. And they're going to do everything possible to stop the agenda that the American people voted for.
Well, that dot connecting wasn't enough to persuade. I'm assuming persuade enough of those on again, off again voters who come out for Trump, but not necessarily party men and women, not to get enough of them out. And that's after Elon Musk spent $21 million in that race, including some $1 million giveaways in Green Bay at the town hall in the closing days over the weekend. Not enough. Thoughts on why the momentum, I mean, it really is the Wisconsin race. You can't really say the momentum slowed for MAGA because in those special elections in Florida, those congressional races to replace Walz and to replace Gates, those went a little bit more as expected, even though you had a motivated left, both Petronis and Randy Fine, the 2 Republican candidates, one going away 15 percentage points plus.
Thank
so
goodness.
those were the walks that they should have been. Basically, Illinois is Illinois, and the struggles continue. Although I have some thoughts on that. But Wisconsin, it's a different story. There's a lot of local dynamics to these things too, not just the particular candidates. Although the feeling was that Brad Schimmel was an improvement over previous state Supreme Court candidates in Wisconsin, but also the state of party cohesion. There's some infighting up and among Republicans in Wisconsin. There was not so long ago, there was a movement to recall Robin Vos, the state house speaker, how that the quality of the state party, the quality of the infrastructure building or infrastructure maintenance, even with all the money that came in to this race for the specific purpose of infrastructure building and turnout. As I was saying yesterday, the difference between having to organize volunteer armies every cycle versus having a standing army that is financed and waiting for orders. And that, generally speaking, is a consistent difference that I see between the right and the left.
312
to the left's benefit.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I'm upset today. I feel like the party's over. This was... Now the Democrats have a little bit of momentum. They were in a funk for a while, and now they're getting out of it. But Wisconsin proves that, once again, it's a divided state. And my friend who lives in Milwaukee said it was all about abortion. She's like, every flyer, everything, it was everything. If Brad Schimmel gets in, there will be no abortions ever, which was a lie. But Crawford was up there last night in her victory speech with 4 white women holding hands, smiling ear to ear.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
I don't hear anymore. But I'm just saying that, as she said, every flyer, every commercial was all about abortion.
Yeah, well, it was all about abortion against Ron Johnson, too, and he won.
Right.
It was all about abortion against Scott Walker, and he won. I mean, it's the idea that they've suddenly made these races, or they've suddenly put great emphasis on abortion in these races, and this is the material difference that matters. No, I don't think so. It's a state that, elects Ron Johnson, elects Tammy Baldwin. So you reconcile that. A little bit more complicated than making it a single issue. I know that will be part of the post-mortem because that's what the left wants you to think it is. And that's what surrender Republicans want you to think it is. But even for the surrender Republicans, it's sort of like the surrender Republicans that on Trump, the never Trumper Republicans. You have to deal with it.
Right.
You don't get to silence the other side. They can say and will say whatever they want. So because we're not talking about abortion, okay, well we are. Now what do you have to say? We're not talking about Trump. Oh, well, we are. So now what do you have to say? Trump is a reality. He's an 800-pound gorilla. So you're going to just pretend he doesn't exist? Well, that's not particularly persuasive. I think the larger point here, I mean, one is an infrastructure issue, but it's not just infrastructure because you have to have infrastructure that is built for a specific mission to specific ends. We have this machine that we crank up to turn people out to do what? What are we telling them they have to come out for? Their orders are to do this for what reason? This is not a command control operation in terms of running elections, running campaigns, and trying to motivate people to participate in elections. And this repeats itself. I mean, there was a thing called Reagan Democrats that were particularly fond of Ronald Reagan and voted for him twice. Much less so other Republicans. And the appeal to Reagan, of Reagan, was moral clarity. We're going to do these things for these reasons. He laid out the why and then offered the what and the how, and defined a constituency that he aimed to serve. Trump has done the same thing, obviously in a very different way from a personality and a communication perspective, but he's done the same thing. And the point is, you emulate that model, make it your own, but you emulate that. You don't just point to it and say, because Trump, you should vote for me. Because Reagan, you should vote for me. That doesn't work. Or certainly doesn't work with the same level of efficiency. And I know Musk is recasting this too today, as others are saying, well, the voter ID law or the voter ID initiative passed, which they already have photo ID requirement in Wisconsin. This just further codified it and insulated it from legislative challenge. But so that's good. I mean, the voter ID initiative passed in a landslide. But that doesn't tell you much. It tells you what we already know, which is that voter ID is wildly popular across party lines. We already knew that. But just because I believe in voter ID, because it's an obvious aspect of ballot integrity, preventing election fraud. Yeah, okay, I'm for that. But I mean, it doesn't mean I'm voting Republican. Maybe have we really convinced the wide swath of the electorate that it's only the left that tries to rig elections? Obviously not. Tony in Downers Grove.
So, Dan, what you're saying is the message isn't resonating, or it's the wrong message, and the Republicans continue to not mobilize locally. I mean, Downers Grove didn't disappoint. I mean, those candidates. I mean, Martin and Drabick, they got pounced, and they got pounced by, again, social Marxists, and it continues to happen.
Right.
So we talk about this every time. You do, but where's the message falling flat? Is it because of its national resonance? Is it because Is it just a local flavor? I don't know. It's concerning. It's definitely concerning because, especially on a national level for the midterms that are going to come up, again, you have every media outlet and every social media outlet. There's not one positive thing said about Trump. And so, again, it's with the messaging and rallying the troops. But how do you change it?
Yeah, well, thanks for the call, Tony. It's more than the messaging. This term that we use all the time, messaging, narrative, and so forth. It's more than that. It's not just showing up 3 months before an election with a litany of promises or grievances. And we'll pick that up at 5:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Nikki Whaley.
It's 42 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. New York Mayor Eric Adams is among those reacting to the DOJ's decision to seek the death penalty for accused United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione, and Adams seems to be for it.
You intentionally went in and you took someone's life. It was a horrific act, and whatever process they put in place, I respect that process.
Attorney General Pam Bondi is ordering federal prosecutors to seek the death penalty. The 26-year-old Ivy League grad allegedly shot and killed Brian Thompson on a Manhattan sidewalk in December. Bondi called the killing a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Cory Booker now holds the record for the longest Senate speech ever at just over 25 hours. The Senate Democrat started his marathon speech at 7 o'clock Eastern Time Monday in protest of the Trump administration. Many have scratched their head. It wasn't for a filibuster, and it wasn't really to get any legislation stopped or passed, so many wonder why he did it. The Chicago City Council plans to hold a meeting next week to consider a new alderman in the city's 35th ward. Current alderman Carlos Ramirez Rosa has gone on to become the head of the Chicago Park District. The meeting is set for Monday at 10 a.m. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you're hiding your smile because of missing teeth, are experiencing pain due to incoming wisdom teeth or a misaligned jaw, Midland Oral Surgery and Implant Centers can change your life. Experts in the fields of oral and maxillofacial surgery, anesthesia, and dental implantology, the doctors at Midland Oral Surgery are committed to providing compassionate care in a calm and relaxing environment. Dental implants, bone grafting, removing wisdom teeth, surgical management of the hard and soft tissues of the facial region, including sedation dentistry, so you can improve your smile in a painless, pleasant, and stress-free manner. With state-of-the-art CT imaging equipment, Midland Oral Surgery and Implant Centers have unparalleled diagnostic and treatment capabilities. Proudly serving Southwest Chicago and its suburbs for over 50 years. Make an appointment to discuss a pain-free solution for your smile. Locations in Frankfort, Tinley Park, Oak Lawn, and Western Springs. Learn more about the doctors and procedures at midlandoms.com. That's midlandoms.com.
Do you agree that the educational system is broken? The cycle of content conveyance and consumption is failing our children. They are listless, bored, and uninspired. I am Peter Serby, the founder and director of the Riverside Club for Adventure and Imagination, and author of the new book, Casting Fire, a guide to the adventure and imagination of boyhood. The true purpose of education should be to spark a child's curiosity and wonder, to light a fire of creativity, to illuminate a path to find gift and calling. A decade ago, I founded Riverside to rekindle a love of learning in our youth. Our innovative vision immerses boys and girls ages 8 to 14 in epic stories, ignites in them a passion for adventuring in the great outdoors, teaches them the art of craftsmanship, and facilitates strong friendships rooted in faith. Join us on our educational journey. Visit ourside.org to learn more about our imaginative programs and summer camps. And check out my new book, Casting Fire, on Amazon. That's ourside.org.
So, what'd you call me over here to see, buddy?
Well, wait till you see the new set of wheels
Whoa! Would you look at this garage floor? Wow, buddy, is this a new coating?
Well, yeah, but...
It's so smooth and shiny. It looks like a showroom in here. Wow, looks easy to keep nice and clean, too.
Yeah, it is, but...
Man, I've been thinking about getting a new coating. This is a sweet-looking garage floor.
You happen to notice my new Corvette?
Oh, huh. That's cool, too.
Level 10 Coatings, Chicagoland's premier concrete coatings company. We can improve the look of your garage, basement, office, or outdoor space with customized concrete coating solutions. As Chicagoland's only certified Cimarron installer, we're setting industry standards. Level 10 Coatings uses polyurea and polyaspartic coating, which is stronger than epoxy. Turn your ugly garage floor into a showroom floor this spring. Mention Amy Jacobson to receive $500 off any new project. Visit level10coatings.com to schedule today, or call 855-510-2628. Level 10 Coatings, your premier concrete coating experts.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, it's now just 14 minutes. On the Edens outbound, about 13 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 7 minutes. No delays. Outbound from the Burn interchange to Montrose, 9 minutes. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 12 minutes. Outbound, no problem, about 13 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about 15 minutes, a little bit slow from about Ashland Avenue to the Dan Ryan Expressway. Traffic's a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield, PPO, or FEP, you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Learn more and check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now check your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, mostly cloudy and becoming windy and more humid. A couple of thunderstorms could be severe. Downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Intervals of clouds and sun for tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy talking about last night's election results in Wisconsin and Illinois and Florida. And,
anything to celebrate?
Yeah, I mean, the special elections in Florida, although there was some progress made by Democrats in some of those counties that may portend trouble for the midterms. And that's actually sort of interesting. The race to replace Matt Gaetz, that district that Jimmy Petronas won, who actually is originally a Chicago guy. He was the state CFO, which is an elected position in the state of Florida.
Okay.
And so he won going away, as I said, 15 points or so.
Well, why did the mainstream media, is that election interference the last 2 days? They said that both congressional districts were at risk of being taken over by Democrats.
There was some polling that suggested that was close, but they stretched it out in the end. In Escambia County, Petronas's Marxist opponent looks like he narrowly won Escambia County. That's a county Trump won by 19 points on a higher voter turnout in November. But the point here is to say, even where they're outgunned, I'm talking about the left, like in these congressional districts in Florida that were up yesterday. They're showing some progress. They're surprising. And then you look at, like, Illinois, and you see very few surprises. I mean, surprisingly good performances from center-right candidates. Very few. And oftentimes what you see in politics is success breeds complacency, one-party rule. Now, maybe there hasn't been really one-party rule quite long enough in Florida, although it's been a minute, particularly at the gubernatorial level, to breed such complacency, and maybe that speaks to DeSantis' executive leadership and some other local dynamics. But, you know, the left is exasperated, they're frustrated, their new Marxist base is animated, and then they surprise, you know, they don't win in a race that they weren't supposed to win, but they overperform. Do you see any center-right candidates overperforming in Chicagoland?
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that very same line.
We saw Keith Pekow lose in Orland Park last night.
Yeah, to Lash.
No.
To
Dodge.
Dodge. Sorry.
Richard Irvin lost in Aurora to Lash.
Sorry.
You know, a lot of center-right candidates that were profiled in this show or called in themselves or called in by supporters went down in places like Lisle.
Michelle Hunter lost for Arlington Heights trustee, but we did get a Republican mayor of Arlington Heights, Jim Tingliana. He won handily, so that's good. That's one. And then I know somebody is on the school board in District 21. Carrie Devitt, she's a Republican, so that's a victory, small little victory.
So why is that? Why don't we see any center-right surprises to the positive? Very few. What happened yesterday is a continuation of what's been happening for the last 20 years, which is a consolidation of suburban control by the new Marxists. That's what happened yesterday. That's the top line. So we can pick out a school board member here and an assessor there, but the top line is what I just described.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a beating.
Wheeling Township, we had Dan Patlack on. They got swept out.
Yep.
And we were talking at the end of the first segment about messaging. Well, this is a comment that is particular to Illinois. And I sort of alluded to this yesterday. Messaging. Yeah, right. What's the campaign message going to be? What is the purpose of the party? What is the purpose of being a center-right candidate or being a proponent of center-right policies? Here's something I've been trying to impress upon people for a long time, and we've had this conversation over and over again, issue after issue. A party that deserts its people when new Marxists come for their kids' tax credit scholarships, or their girls' sports, or homeschooling families' independence, or the homes of middle-class families through confiscatory property taxes, or imperils their personal safety by releasing predators, foreign and domestic, into their neighborhoods. A party that deserts its people when they are attacked like this is a shameful and cowardly party. And a party that is nowhere to be found in these times should not be surprised when those they need for victory on Election Day are similarly nowhere to be found. There's a thesis. Discuss. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Larry in Mantino.
Yes, how we doing? Thanks for taking my call. I just want to shed a little light on the local election here. The Freedom Party, which is the No Goshen Party for the Goshen Battery Plant, the Chinese communists coming to town. They have, I think we slept it all the way through. it was a very good election for our town, and hopefully we can push Goshen out as Michigan just has stopped the Goshen plant in Michigan. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, thanks for the call there. I saw that. That it's one of those Jason Aldean try that in a small town moments. Chinese Communist Party and Pritzker, a joint venture of J.B. Pritzker, the Chinese Communist Party, Mantino. That was a rallying cry, but that was a rallying cry by people who stood up to put in the fight when it was called for, and that spilled over into an election. To my larger point, you see. I was a civic leader. I was putting in these fights before my name was on a ballot, or after my name was on a ballot, or because I'm an incumbent. But you know that I'm an on the field general. That's what Trump is. Like him or lump him, that's what Trump is, and that's why he generates such loyalty. On the field general. Those center right candidates. I mean, and I like many of them. And the weight they're carrying, operating under the discredited Republican banner in the state of Illinois. And by the way, even if you're running, put people first party and all these local party names, of course, everybody knows in these contested races who's left and who's right.
Right.
So, I mean, so you may not have GOP next to your name on the ballot, but everybody knows what the splits are. So that's something to consider. And Mantino provides a nice positive exhibit in terms of what I'm talking about. Mark and Rochelle.
Yeah, I think in general, what I've observed is on a Democrat side, they've got a consistent message of anxiety, fear, and anger that provokes voters, and they've nailed that as far as messaging. And the Republicans are more encouraging through policy discussion. And I think that, it filters down to local elections as well. So I just think that they've got that, and we've got that somehow with a positive message with the things you discuss on this program every day. And I just don't know how we defeat that. So just in general, though.
Thanks for the call, Mark. Well, I mean, one of the things you have to remember, too, is they still enjoy, despite Trump's victory 5 minutes ago, the same institutional control of our civic and, essentially of our civic infrastructure that they enjoyed prior to Trump's victory in November. I mean, the whole thing doesn't turn over overnight, and it's a fight every step of the way. Look what's going on college campuses, for example. Pick a policy, any policy, and it's a pitched battle. But some are content to just say, well, I voted for Trump and we stopped Kamala Harris, so, okay, that's all wrapped up. Done with that. Now everything should be humming along in short order. No, not exactly. But are we relentlessly making the case and demonstrating our commitment to the case the way that the left is? I mean, not to mention relentlessly exposing the left for who they are.
Well, they're also bullies. I mean, look what happened to Richard Irvin. He ran against Governor Pritzker, ran in the primary as a Republican, and Pritzker then put up a lash to take him down. I mean, this guy's got some thin skin. But here's Richard Irvin last night.
Tonight was a hard-fought race, y'all. We fought hard. We fought long. And unfortunately, we came up short. I want to read a text that my daughter sent to me just a few minutes ago. She said, the last 8 years, you've done amazing things for the city of Aurora. You've made history. But best of all, I've got to enjoy watching you become a better man. You've grown so much during this experience, but it's time for you to move on and spread the knowledge and love and growth somewhere else.
What's next for him? What's next for Keith Pekow?
Well, I mean, those are two entirely different questions. And I mean, your characterization of Richard Irvin and J.B. Pritzker, I dispute.
Okay.
Were you around for the 2024 cycle? 2022 cycle, I should say. Were you around for that? The Richard Irvin.
Yeah, I was
ran against Pritzker.
No, he didn't. Well, of course, he was in the primary. Bailey beat him. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. What was his record?
Pritzker was so threatened by him.
He wasn't threatened by him at all. And I'm sorry. What was Richard Irvin's record? Black Lives Matter. Do you remember these races? Does anybody? And it's another part of the frustration. And you want people to put up a fight, and then people can't even keep track of what the hell's going on, and who's on which side. Richard Irvin was lauded Governor Pritzker repeatedly. He was pro sanctuary state. He was pro Black Lives Matter while rioters were burning down his city. What are you talking about? Philip on the west side.
Hey, Dan, good morning. How you all doing? Hey, Dan, I listen to our side. We are so weak. I listen to us when, like these elections and everything going on, people make excuses why we lose because of abortion. This is not it. We do not tell these people to their face in front of their own crowd how cowardly they are. These people, like Tim Walz, for instance, I never hear nobody say to him in his face when they had his crowd, or like Gavin Newsom when you had Charlie Kirk on his program, he should have been telling them to his face in front of his people. You the one that's destroying all this. You the one that's for man in sports. You never hear nobody say, Tim Walz, you the one put tampon dispensaries in boys' restrooms, because people don't know, because we are so weak with our message. It is so disturbing. And I tell you, man, we could win all these elections with all the proof we have. We are up against a bunch of cowards that constantly repeat lies, and we settle for this. It is so disturbing when we don't push back. You hear people, we lost because of abortion. That's not the reason why. Tell these women, keep your legs closed. Don't have babies by these nothing men. But what do? We give in. And I cannot believe people are not in an uproar about their children, what they doing to our kids. It's because the messaging we are so weak. It is so disturbing. And you got Donald Trump. We have fighters, but the people don't fight behind him because of the messaging. The people that's supposed to be on our side are so cowardly. They give in to things. Tell these people to their face on their platforms, you are the reason why this is happening, but you never hear it. It is so sad, and we can win all this with the proof. But, man, our side is so cowardly. And I heard Megyn Kelly say something. We shouldn't be going on platforms like Gavin Newsom. And I thought about it, and she's right. Because when we get up there, we don't make these people pay for what they have done. Gavin Newsom, he's a moderate now. He's talking about men shouldn't be in women's sports. You are the cause of this in California. To their faces. We are so weak, man, with our messaging, and we can win all this. People need to support Donald Trump's his outgoing to their face. We have an administration right now. We can win all of this, but our messenger and our messengers are so cowardly. You got the women. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was great. I was enjoying it. But I take your point. Very, very well stated. I appreciate it. I appreciate the energy too. Thanks for the call, Philip. Maybe Philip from the west side wants to run for mayor or something, if for nothing else, just to show people what putting in a fight looks like. That would be nice. He's right. It's way too chummy, particularly in Illinois. Way too chummy. Way too Midwest nice in the face of barbarians. Absolutely right. And then you don't take, and as I said, I'm not going to repeat myself, but then you don't take up all these policy fights that you say animate you, and you let the other side dictate terms of the debate. You push a mental health board and say, oh, well, they didn't do it right process. This is Wheeling Township. We talked about, oh, they didn't do it right, but then we compromised and we did this, and now they have their mental health board. But they're driving the train because they're the party of government. It's not good government, just more government. And, we're in government trying, it's fine to become and party leaders in the state of Illinois
the super minority leaders that were the co-sponsors of the Amendment 1, public sector unions forever, codified into our Constitution. They do the bidding of the other side, formally, informally, and formally. We don't even have enough respect for ourselves as Republicans in Illinois. I'm talking about elected officials. I'm talking about the caucuses. I'm talking about people with leadership titles. That they speak. They don't have enough respect for themselves and their party members to stand up when the media continues to go after discredited quislings that fraudulently use a Republican label after they have declared their allegiance to the other side as spokesmen for the party. We don't even care enough about our brand to not let other people further dilute it and disgrace it. But come, a week from election, everybody's got to get out to vote, and you wonder why people shuffle to the polls if they go at all. Mike in Union.
Morning, Dan and Amy. Dan, messaging 100%. Going back to Judy Bart to Pink, Governor Edgar and everybody else, the run-to-the-middle Republicans in this state. We need federal assistance from the Republican Party. My own rep, I don't hear from him unless I get a mailer, in the mail on a Saturday to vote for him. But he's a ghost. Most Republicans in this state are a ghost. And everybody feels defeated because they listen to the news, and it's so biased, Dan. But where's the fight is where it's at. It doesn't exist. We need federal assistance, and we probably won't get it because nobody's asking.
Well, thanks for federal assistance. We have 12 million people in the state of Illinois. Trump got more votes in 24 than Pritzker got in 2022. Of course, it much bigger turnout, but it just speaks to the 2.5 million people in the state that are center right. 2.5 million center rightists can't figure this out. Can't find anybody who wants to fight, with a purpose, for be part of the common sense counter revolution. 2.5 million center rightists can't figure it out. We need somebody, we're going to wait for Godot. We need somebody to be drop shipped in here to tell us how to talk to one another, how to hold people accountable. When it's time to stand up, we need Patrick Swayze to come to town. We need the cooler so that we know when we're supposed to fight. Just beyond embarrassed. Incapable of being embarrassed. Just lose and lose and lose. And to hit the point about the previous, I made this point over the weekend. In my lifetime, we have never had a conservative reform candidate for governor or nominee, the likes of a Mitch Daniels in Indiana or Scott Walker in Wisconsin or a Kim Reynolds in Iowa. Isn't that amazing? The one thing we haven't tried, Darren Bailey was probably the closest thing, but he was fundamentally flawed in so many other ways. Isn't that amazing? My lifetime, conservatives have never tried conservative reform. And they've had opportunities. We'll talk to somebody who gave them one at 6:30. More about this, Jeannie Ives.
It is now 6 a.m., WIND, Chicago.
Republicans will have a little bigger majority in the House. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. After winning 2 special elections in Florida,
I have now gotten your vote because President Trump asked you to vote for me.
Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronas, backed by the president, winning 2 vacant House seats.
And I'm looking forward to working with him to help rebuild our military, to close the border, to keep men out of women's sports.
Now, they both won by about 14 points in heavily Republican districts, despite being far outspent by Democrats Gabe Alamont and Josh Weil. But in Wisconsin, a conservative backed by the president and millions of Elon Musk's dollars lost a Supreme Court race.
Yeah, I've called Judge Crawford and conceded.
I'm here tonight because I've spent my life fighting to do what's right.
That's Susan Crawford. Her victory will keep the court liberal-leaning, but President Trump liked one election result in Wisconsin, thanking voters on Truth Social for
enshrining the state's voter ID law in their constitution. Trump saying, quote, "This is a big win for Republicans, maybe the biggest win of the night. It should allow us to win Wisconsin like I just did in the presidential election for many years to come."
That's Fox's Brooke Sigmund, and this is what the president calls Liberation Day, announcing more tariffs later on imports.
The full details remain unclear, but what we know so far, reciprocal tariffs could be less than what other countries charge the U.S., and rates may vary depending on country. New tariffs could apply to all countries around the world. In sector-specific products, steel and aluminum, well, those tariffs have already been put on to 25%, and the auto import tariff is expected to start today. That's cars and car parts, and they will begin collected tomorrow.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Actor Val Kilmer's died. A star of movies in the 80s and 90s, from Batman, The Tombstone, to Top Gun.
You figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot?
Val Kilmer's daughter says he died of pneumonia at age 65. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 42 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The mass layoffs of federal health workers is underway. Some Department of Health and Human Services employees found out early yesterday when their ID badges no longer worked to get them inside the building.
Just a no heart. There's just no sense to it. My computer was turned off. I didn't get to sign what I was supposed to sign. It's just total chaos.
That was Stephen Weiner, an HHS worker in San Francisco who showed up to work to find out he was out of a job. The layoffs involve hundreds of workers, including some physicians in leadership positions. Charges are dropped against a Chicago man who spent nearly 30 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Robert Johnson is ready to live the rest of his life.
I'm just ready to live my life. You know, I'm not going to focus on the last 28 years. I'm going to focus on the next 28 years. You know, and I feel like my future is bright.
Johnson was only 16 when he was arrested for the 1996 murder of Eddie Binion. He was convicted and sentenced to 80 years in prison. However, his conviction was vacated last month and prosecutors dropped the charges against him yesterday. His lawyers claimed there was no physical evidence or witness linking him to the crime. John Lash is set to become the next mayor of Aurora. The alderman defeated incumbent Mayor Richard Irvin in yesterday's election. Lash previously lost the mayor's race to Irvin in 2021. Irvin made history in 2017 when he was elected as the city's first black mayor. News is a service of almostfreeteeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at almostfreeteeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
When you need to talk about what's happening today.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second?
There's one place you can come to. The Sean Thompson Show.
Do it! Do it, I dare you. Do it!
Get in the conversation.
Everybody talks about that show. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Weekdays starting at 4.
This is easy.
I like his honesty and his frankness. Every day I listen to him, I learn. He says what's on his mind. He's real.
Best person out there to listen to.
We're combating people who prefer the lie.
He's Sean Thompson, only on AM 560. The Answer. Sign up for the AM 560 Answer Advantage to get early alerts on event ticket sales, special discounts, and contest opportunities. Sign up today at 560theanswer.com/advantage. Hear from one of America's most important public intellectuals on the Victor Davis Hanson Show.
Europe is saying to us, if you have a U.S. platform and you have an interview we don't like, we're going to fine you to the extent we can over in Europe. So they interfere with us all the time. And if they don't like X and they don't like Google and they don't like Apple phones, just make your own.
Subscribe to the Victor Davis Hanson Show today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Enjoy uninterrupted programming from Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson around the clock, all day, every day, including daily replays of Chicago's Morning Answer on Dan and Amy 24/7. Listen now at danandamy247.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. NPR, National Public Radio, is helmed by Catherine Marr, who testified last week before the DOJ subcommittee of the U.S. House Oversight Committee. It didn't go well for her because she had spent years on X, even when it was Twitter, with some very outrageous takes that were exposed. The bottom line is this. NPR is hard left. Not center left, not left-leaning, hard left. That's an objective assessment. I don't think you could find 10% of its staff that support President Trump. I don't think you could find 5%. Let's just be candid. NPR is an ideological machine that has a mission to make America think like its staff does. Leftists. NPR is simply radio with funding from the government and its enthusiasts. Well, bravo to those enthusiasts. That's what the First Amendment's all about. But it is time to end the federal subsidy for good. It's long past time to end the ruse of listener-supported NPR. It's taxpayer-supported NPR, and that has got to end.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center. The Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 15 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 14 minutes, about a 5-minute delay. Outbound from the Burn Interchange to Montrose, 16 minutes, about a 6-minute delay. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 36 minutes, 22-minute delay due to a crash, left lanes blocked. It's going to be between 25th Avenue and Austin Boulevard. On the outbound side, only just a 17-minute drive. Traffic is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. Marvin replacement windows and doors can bring your backyard right into your living space, making it seem brighter and more spacious. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your consultation. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now checking your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, mostly cloudy and becoming windy and more humid. A couple of thunderstorms could be severe. Downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Intervals of clouds and sun for tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Let's check in on how Tom Homan and the boys are doing. We've got a report out yesterday. First 70 days, 2/3 of the way to the first 100. First 70 days, the Trump administration has deported more than 100,000 illegal migrants. That's the definition of a good start. But how big is the job? Here's a reminder, News Nation reporting.
As DHS data that we exclusively obtained via sources show that there are still 7.69 million active ICE cases. Of those cases, 1.48 million have a final order of removal. So that means a judge said they need to go, but they haven't yet. More than 217,000 of those individuals are convicted criminals, according to the data.
I mean, 1.48 million individuals are under final orders of removal. And there's 7.69 million active ICE cases. I mean, it's a good news, bad news thing. I mean, the Trump team is methodically moving through this best they can while the fights go on in federal courts. They've stemmed the flow. U.S. Border Patrol nationwide encounters in December of 23, there were 371,000. In March of 2025, there were 7,000. So, I mean, you go from a 2-year high of almost 400,000 to March of this year, 7,000. So the importation has effectively stopped, but it was going on for so long, as we understand, we still have this massive problem. There's more details on this, too. ICE cases with orders of removal by countries of origin. Number 1 is Honduras with more than 267,000, Guatemala 259,000, Mexico 256, El Salvador 201,000, Nicaragua, Cuba, Brazil, China, Ecuador, Haiti round out the top 10. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on that line as well. So it's moving. Perhaps you like everything else. It's not the flipping of a light switch and the snapping of fingers, but these are some encouraging numbers that have been lodged by the Trump administration to date. But just remember sort of the scope of the problem. And one of the things that we were talking about in terms of localizing issues in the context of yesterday's local elections, in the context of the midterms too, is you think, well, Tom Homan's on the job. We're getting all this reporting about people being deported. You just have some fights in federal courts and stuff. But it seems like but the stories about the importation or invasion, depending on your preference, they've stopped because that has stopped. And so we're making progress, so now I don't have to pay attention to that anymore. Well, you still have sanctuary jurisdictions.
Yeah.
And those fights continue, and the fights between Bondi and the sanctuary jurisdictions with respect to federal dollars and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it seems to me like this is one of those areas where we win, we put a team in place, we're starting to make progress, and then we just sort of, dust off our hands and say, well, that's handled. Now let's move on to the next thing and stop paying attention to this thing. You need constant messaging, updating of what's happening, what the struggles are, what the progress is, how far we have to go, pay attention, just like we talked about with Doge in that group interview on Friday with Brett Baer last week. That should be more frequent. Bring these people forward. Let's hear from the co-founder of Airbnb more. Let's hear from Steve Davis more. Let's hear from Anthony Armstrong, the banker, more. Let's give us. I know you're posting it on Twitter, and I know conservative quote unquote influencers, whatever the hell that is, a big echo chamber, are reposting and so on and so forth. But that is a small fraction of the electorate that is tuned into that. Pound, pound, pound on why you're doing what you're doing, restate it, on how it's going, on how you're doing it, on the particular impacts it's having that redound to the benefit of American citizens, the incidence of crimes by foreign nationals. Give me, data on that, February of 2025 versus February of 2024, for example. I mean, bring the electorate along every step of the way, particularly with these huge deliverables, right? The common sense counter-revolution is predicated on these issues that have supermajority support. Border security, reining in reckless spending, reestablishing the sanctity of girls' sports and girls' spaces. I mean, every story, every milestone should be amplified. And I just don't think it is. And this is where people start to not just Well, I guess it's where people start to lose interest, and they focus on the misdirection plays that the left is running because those are relentless.
Right, like right now it's all about Tesla, and if you own a Tesla, are you going to get keyed, or is somebody going to put a swastika on your car? Instead of focusing on sanctuary cities, I mean, Trump mentioned bringing and signing an executive order to end sanctuary cities altogether, because he was saying, sanctuary cities protect illegal aliens and allow violent criminals to roam the streets. And if you've been driving down Chicago, they're back on every street corner. I don't know where they went for a while, but they're back. And here's President Trump.
We're looking at one, I will tell you right now, that I think perhaps will be controversial, but not with the people, and that's sanctuary cities. We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement. They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether, because it's just a way of protecting criminals. And nobody else is benefited by that. And for some reason, Democrats want to keep and they want to shield criminals from being sent back to their countries or being sent to prison. And in the meantime, the crime rate has gone through the roof. Under Biden, it was through the roof. It's starting to come down, but we're taking a lot of people out of here. So we may be presenting you very shortly with a executive order ending sanctuary cities.
Well, I mean,
How's that
what
play
is
in Illinois?
Yeah, what does that mean, though? Right. And again, not everything can be done by executive order. And this is all these matters are going to be litigated. I mean, Pam Bondi is bringing suits. You can be sure that cities and states will venue shop to find a federal district court to enjoin any stripping of federal funds that were otherwise earmarked for sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. So this is going to be a pitched battle. All things are all pitched battles. But the point is to make sure that people are following this fight and they understand who's on which side. Right. They understand that Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, for example, are willing to sacrifice billions of dollars in federal funds in addition to your public safety, to your personal safety.
To protect non-Americans and non-Chicagoans, non-Illinoisans.
On the altar of sanctuary cities.
Yes, I can't stand it.
So we have this focus on issues like this, and then it sort of dissipates, and perhaps now it'll be reintroduced. But it needs to be on a rolling basis. And again, what everybody can do is be an opinion leader within their circles of influence, be a content provider. Don't make this a spectator sport. Mike in Edison Park.
Hey, good morning to both of you. One of the things that I'm wondering why the push for has kind of stopped in regards to the Trump administration, why aren't they talking more about taxing payments out to everywhere, Western Union, money orders, whatever you want to talk, pay for both some of the enforcement? I think probably it could be a twofold. You could probably make some money, and you could probably get a lot of people to self-deport.
Well, thanks for the call, Mike. That was something actually proposed by Ron DeSantis, among others, but DeSantis proposed that in the primary last cycle. I wouldn't be surprised if that's, an arrow in Trump's quiver when talking trade with the Mexican government. So I wouldn't foreclose that as a possible policy, but I think it's. I just suggest that I think it's part of a conversation about the economic ties between the United States and Mexico, and as I said, not just Mexico, but Honduras, Guatemala, that have as many people that are scheduled that have final orders of deportation as Mexico does. So it's probably still in the mix. I think this is a security and a processing focus right now because it needs to be. And Tom Homan, frankly, needs more cash. That's what he's saying. Needs more beds, needs these cases adjudicated faster. So to the extent you need to stand up more immigration courts to process these claims, what was it? 1.2, is that what I said? Yeah, 1.48 having final removal orders, but 7.69 million active cases. They're deporting 1,400 people a day so far. They're averaging in the first 70 days, and they've got 20% of this active caseload, I guess, in the final removal order stage. But that's still a ton of work to do to process people who should be removed out. And I know they're prioritizing criminals. Of the 1.48, you heard the News Nation report, 217,000, according to DHS, are criminals. So that's a good start. But more resources to bear. Put a spotlight on this. This should be in the news on a daily basis. It's just so massive. And it also is good to remind people of everything that was done by the previous administration and all of these, people that, of course, were for border security, Bernie Sanders, all these new Marxists on their Stop Oligarchy tour trying to sort of reclaim the party. Go ahead, let them reclaim the party and let them wear that brand. All the people that raised their hands when it was coming into this country illegally should be decriminalized. It shouldn't be a crime. Every Democrat presidential candidate raises their hand. All the people like AOC calling for the defunding of ICE. I mean, we let them get away with all the things they said and did when we don't maintain focus on trying to undo all the damage that they did with what they did. And stories like this, too. I mean, these alternative news outlets are helpful. Savannah Hernandez did a Man on the Street piece for Turning Point on Jackson Hewitt in New York City. Speaking of another sanctuary city, Jackson Hewitt working with migrants for tax returns. People in this country illegally, trying to get them more taxpayer dollars.
It's ridiculous.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
This is Savannah Hernandez in front of the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. Now, we wanted to come check in on the migrant crisis, and as we were walking around, we saw a Jackson Hewitt table out here with an employee who was handing out this flyer. Now, what this flyer says is, working or not, file your taxes, and we can get the maximum refund for your family. And the paper says that if you have one child, you can get over $7,000 in a refund, and if you have up to 3 children, you can get over $14,000. So the Jackson Hewitt employee who initially handed me this paper, after finding out I was a journalist, took the paper away. That's why this one's so dirty, because a migrant ended up giving me another copy, and he stated that if he's put on camera and this goes out, that legal will have to get involved.
We do this stuff like this, like at all the shelters and stuff. But like our company, this is why we try to help people by, providing them with refunds,
So you guys are trying to help the migrants with their taxes then,
Yes.
to help them get refunds, help them get some money back from the government?
Yes.
Yeah, whether they're working or not, said Jackson Hewitt.
Yeah. Let's go get pregnant, have another baby so I can get $14,000 for 3 kids. Is that being offered to, are they helping Americans, Jackson Hewitt, or they're just being opportunistic, sitting in front of shelter after shelter after shelter?
And when it comes to motivating the Trump electorate, the Trump coalition, if you will, that clearly wasn't motivated, places like Wisconsin yesterday, it's something that traditional conservatives have to understand, party men and women, is that these voters aren't monolithic. And so there needs to be more texture to messaging to address the multiple motivations for supporting Trump that exist in these on-again, off-again voters who come out for Trump, but not necessarily for other center-right candidates that are also advancing the Trump flag. Maybe there needs to be more of an appeal made to college-educated, suburban honky men that run about 1-to-1, for example. And, to the extent they can get some of their ghastly wives to come over with them, well, that's found money. We're not thinking about this the right way in terms of the 24/7 communication on these major issues that provided the real basis for Trump's victory, and how we motivate the on-again, off-again Trump supporter when it comes to midterm elections. And better start figuring that out in advance of 26. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709. 800-505-8709.
Hey, Carl Jackson here for Dennis Prager. While Dennis Prager is recuperating, we know you miss your daily dose of Dennis. That's why Pragertopia is giving you a special gift. Right now, Pragertopia members can hear the best 2 hours of Dennis's favorite segments from as far back as 2010. On Monday, you can hear the Happiness Hour.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm about.
Tuesday is Celebrity Guest Day.
Donald Trump Jr. is in studio with me.
On Wednesday, it's the Male-Female Hour.
I really do wish there were a way to ascertain the number of marriages that this hour has helped.
Thursday, the Ultimate Issues Hour.
Not having ultimate issues clarity is like having a map, but you don't know where you're going.
And Friday is Open Lines.
Feel free to ask me anything about me, about you, about life.
So if you're missing your daily dose of Dennis, go to Pragertopia.com and hear all your favorite segments along with lectures, celebrity interviews, and his famous Torah teachings and more. Get your daily dose of Dennis at Pragertopia.com, Pragertopia.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Real quick, a few text messages. So, Dan and Amy, these illegals have social security numbers because they have to file taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, they're getting refunds on our tax dollars that were given to them through our hard work. What a joke.
Right, in addition to the benefits that are taxpayer funded that they're getting, the food, shelter, health care that they're getting as well.
Living near Times Square, rent-free. Must be nice.
It's got a text from Chris Lausen, former state senator, Kane County Board Chairman. He called in yesterday about this $51 million sales tax referendum in Kane County.
What happened?
After 2.5 years of showing up to Finance Committee and County Board meetings, the Kane County Grassroots Group, organized by Michelle and Larry Betag and Brian Anderson, beat the sales tax referendum by a 3-1 landslide. So that's good. I'd like to hear more about this Kane County Grassroots Group because this is what you need more of so that there is ongoing attention paid and information disseminated so that you're not trying to cram for finals 2 weeks before an election and tell everybody about this sales tax referendum. I suspect that's why they were as successful as they were. Speaking of which, we'll talk more about the local election results, both in Illinois, especially in Illinois, perhaps a little bit in Wisconsin. Former state legislator Jeannie Ives and a colleague at AM 560 joins us at 6:36 to do that.
But first, let's swing by that newsroom once again. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 42 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump says today is America's Liberation Day. That's because new tariffs are expected to take effect against Canada, Mexico, China, and the European Union. Trump will mark his executive orders with an event in the Rose Garden dubbed Make America Wealthy Again at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Trump is expecting $5 trillion in U.S. investments after his tariffs take effect. The White House says the tariffs will undo decades of countries taking advantage of the U.S. A lot of the tariffs are focused on foreign automakers and auto part makers. And actor Val Kilmer has passed away. Val Kilmer's daughter told the New York Times the cause was pneumonia. He was 66. Street sweeping season is underway again in Chicago. City officials are urging motorists to focus on parking signs so they don't get tickets or get towed. Signs about upcoming sweeps are posted in orange 2 days in advance. Street sweeping continues through the fall. Street sweeping requests can be made to the city's line at 311. News is a service of Air Right Heating and Cooling, offering AM 560 listeners $56 off of any service, including inspections, or take advantage of limited-time federal rebates on a new furnace. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at air-rit.com. Again, that's air-rit.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
When you need to talk about what's happening today.
Hey, can I talk to you for a second?
There's one place you can come to. The Sean Thompson Show.
Do it! Do it, I dare you. Do it!
Get in the conversation.
Everybody talks about that show. Sounds great, doesn't it?
Weekdays starting at 4.
This is easy.
I like his honesty and his frankness. Every day I listen to him, I learn. He says what's on his mind. He's real.
Best person out there to listen to.
We're combating people who prefer the lie.
He's Sean Thompson, only on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Scott Tucker, host of Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker, heard on AM 560 on Sundays at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. I want to offer you a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? To get your free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Just go to retirementdakota.com. That's retirementdakota.com. And please listen every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, folks, I just can't help thinking of our stress levels. And high blood pressure is the number one key risk factor for mortality. In fact, 1 in 2 Americans walking around have high blood pressure. That's a ticking time bomb. But thankfully, it's never been easier to take control of your blood pressure. With 120 Life, a truly remarkable natural juice blend that can actually help you lower your blood pressure without the side effects of taking pills every day. 120 Life is formulated with scientifically backed ingredients from superfruits, berries, and minerals that have been shown to naturally help control high blood pressure. And it works. It's endorsed by 600 health professionals. And I assure you, that's not fake news. I use it myself. I love it. You can try it for yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120 Life and use the coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% and receive free shipping. If 120 Life doesn't help lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they give you your money back. It's guaranteed. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Go to 120life.com today.
She's gone from reporting on the sidelines to making sense of the headlines. It's the Michelle Tafoya podcast.
The media is trying to lampoon this group. Yes, they are. They're calling them a bunch of 19-year-olds in hoodies. People go to war as soon as they're 18. You're okay with that. But a 19-year-old genius trying to help the Treasury save money? Oh, God forbid.
Subscribe to the Michelle Tafoya podcast today on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Taking another look at the roads from the Team Hawkesburg Traffic Center. The Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 16 minutes. Outbound, 15 minutes. Inbound on the Kennedy from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 15 minutes. Outbound, about 16 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the Old Post Office, 35 minutes, about a 21-minute delay. On the outbound side, though, 18 minutes. On the Stevenson inbound from Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 23 minutes. This report is sponsored by True Green. True Green, act now to tee up a golf course quality lawn and enter to win 10, 15, or 25 grand to give it a makeover. Don't wait. Sign up today and enter to win before April 14th at truegreen.com/sweepstakes. Restrictions apply. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, mostly cloudy and becoming windy and more humid. Couple of thunderstorms could be severe. Downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Intervals of clouds and sun for tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, returning to our post-mortem with incomplete information, but post-mortem on local election results yesterday in Illinois and to some extent in Wisconsin. Please be joined by Jeannie Ives, former state legislator, candidate for governor. She is the host of The Real Story. That's Sunday nights on these airwaves, 7 to 9 p.m. And she also runs Breakthrough Ideas. She's was much closer to this than I was in terms of all of these local races, particularly in the suburbs. So leaning on Jeannie for some insight on what happened yesterday, although it's rather familiar story. Right. Jeannie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Dan. It's a rather depressing story, too, actually.
Yeah. Well, the depression hasn't lifted. Your top line from yesterday, what happened in most of these suburban races?
No, in most of these races, we completely wiped out. Republicans lost. In Milton Township, we used to have every single position, lost every single one of them to the Democrats. In some cases, like the Democrat supervisor, she's never been to an actual board meeting ever. What? But, yeah. So she won. Our long-term highway commissioner, who's great, ran against a business agent of Local 150. And he lost. He's been in that position for a good 20 years, does great work. You can expect now that they will unionize that workforce and raise your taxes. So, complete loss there. Even our, Dennis Revelletti, he's been a long-time name in politics. He's losing right now as Addison's supervisor. Winfield used to be controlled by Republicans. They lost. York used to be controlled by Republicans. They lost. These are the township races. It's just West Chicago Mayor Ruben Pineda. He lost. Complete wipeout.
So why?
Well, I do think that they didn't have clear messaging in many cases. You just have to hit people between the eyes. I also do think that when it comes to anything that deals with education or mental health, people unfortunately are just willing to spend whatever it takes, and that's not the answer. And they just, for whatever they just do, they just vote for these people who vote for, it's for education, it's for mental health. But really overarching, it's no clear message. Republicans just went on spring break and didn't vote early. And part of that is maybe we didn't reach enough people to tell them, although there was a big effort to make sure people try to early vote. But the other thing is I just think the unions are extremely strong in the suburbs, and they have built-in ability to turn out their people. Behind every teacher, you can at least get 5 more people, and all you need to do is send an email from the union to tell people who to vote for. And their salary is on the line and their control is on the line, so they show up.
Any victories at all? I mean, do you see a victory with the mayor of Arlington Heights?
Well, I wasn't paying too much attention to Arlington Heights, to be honest with you. I'm not sure, did the conservative win in that race?
Yeah, Jim.
know.
Jim Tingliana, he won handily,
Okay.
which is one little ray of sunshine, I guess, today.
Well, I mean, more so, we just talked about the King County sales tax referendum going down. We also talked a little bit earlier in the show, we got a call from Mantino and the Mantino Freedom Party that made the election basically a referendum on the J.B. Pritzker Chinese Communist Party joint there. They were successful, but it's hard to find other bright spots.
Mantino, I know a lot about Mantino. Those folks worked really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And they identified their issue. They identified the people who were not on their side when Goshen came in, lied to the community, hid information from the community. They're embroiled in a lawsuit. So that's been constant information stream to the voters about what's going on. And I think that's part of they won because of that. They were very clear on what they needed to do. Unfortunately, they do not still control that board because the mayor does not have a voting position unless there's a tie. So it's a 4-2 board with the mayor, but they made a lot of strides, and they can come back in 2 years and clean it up. So that was a huge success. But, I mean, Mayor Pekow's loss in Orland Park, I mean, honestly, I think Keith is the best mayor in the entire state, and he's done so much good for that. And he got wiped out because of mixed messaging from Rhino Republicans about who was the Republican in the race, because Trump won that race 57-43, but that got it was such a nasty race.
Well, and just to use that as an example, too, and one of the reasons that sensible people don't want to get involved, some sensible people, and the grifters do, is, I mean, as you know, I mean, Keith was slimed for years with illegal and phony robocalls that attacked him and his wife. I mean, that said slanderous things, even for a public official, slanderous things about Keith and his wife. And, you can never trace them down. And we have a pretty good idea who's behind them, but you have to prove it in terms of any accountability. It's just those sorts of things. And you just build, again, basically a coalition of the bedwetters and the ankle biters and the grifters. And you can, as you say, you confuse some people by saying, oh, Jim Dodge is the Republican endorsed candidate and this and that, more lying. Then you can hoodwink the electorate. It's not the first time it's happened.
Yeah, no, but I mean, they also cleaned up on that Orland Fire District. Now, that Orland Fire District is just ridiculous. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on some sort of media consultant just to put out a press release like once every quarter. They spent $18,000 in that Orland Fire District and they paid a diversity consultant who was incarcerated in federal prison, and they still paid her. I mean, it's complete malfeasance. Finally, at the end of the day, the fire union finally said, hey, we want some accountability. Orland Fire District for their spending on some of this stuff, but it wasn't too late to, and they didn't turn out the right people. So, I mean, the messaging, the clearness of it really matters. Republicans just need to show up. I mean, you're right. If Republicans showed up, we would win a lot of these races. They just stay away. And for example, the Warrenville race, the mayor's race, total of 2,490 votes won that race for mayor. They elected Andy Johnson, who sat on the Wheaton School District Board for probably 15 years, something like that. He's the person who, lied to the people about the Hubble Middle School being worth $25 million. They sold it for $5 million. Then they built a $58 million rooftop garden middle school that's only at 65% capacity. And he's the one who gave Catalani a retirement package that included paying his family's health insurance for 15 years post-retirement. And they elected him now as the mayor. I mean, he's just he doesn't care about taxpayer money, but the unions turn out who they want to, and that's to Warrenville. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, the other thing, too, is, I mean, so like Mantino's a good example. When your community is really formally under siege, then people's attention is galvanized. But I mean, so many of these suburbs. I mean, you talk to them. I have friends too. I mean, the entire community is like on one big morphine drip. I mean, they're just sort of numb, and they're just sort of floating around. They have no idea. They have no idea what's going on at their schools. We act like people listen to this show or consume the same news sources that we do, have seen all the charts and graphs from wire points and are aware of that Illinois has the highest combined state and local tax burden and this anemic economic growth, and look at the student spending versus the student results. And they don't know any of this. They don't know any of this, and they don't seem particularly motivated to find out. They just seem motivated to stay numb, and it's just tough to penetrate.
Well, and then you've got like the races in Elmhurst with Chavez losing after that shameful personal PAC mailer comes out, just smearing him with a bunch of leftist buzzwords. The same thing in the Andrew Catton race in Hinsdale. He lost as well. And we try to highlight those issues when we found out about them. Wrote really good articles. Higgins wrote definitive articles on what we tried to share that. We tried to boost it. It was a little bit too late on the Catton story. But people have no idea how Marxist their school boards are and how much money they control. I mean, in District 200, they have control of $200 million budget, plus they're going to control $151 million of spend on 3 middle schools that they're expanding. It's outrageous amount of money they control, and people don't pay attention. And taxes are going to go up, and they're going to go up all the time, and people don't seem to understand. And it's just very, very difficult and discouraging to try and connect the dots for voters much more. Well,
what do you think? Where do we go from here? You don't have a functioning Republican Party that has any particular raison d'etre, that is doing anything that is noticeable. I mean, but you have all these issues because of the disintegration of the city and the state that is ongoing and is increasing in pace under the current political class. From the sanctuary city business to and all the spending on people in this country illegally in Illinois, and the confiscatory state and local tax burdens, and the declining quality of schools, all these things that people say they care about. I mean, where do we go from here in your view?
Well, I think, in 2026, we just really need a candidate who's got like a Trumpian type of voice that is unafraid to say what needs to be said and tell people the truth, and does it. And the media can't ignore that message when it's a sort of a governor's race or a senatorial race or something like that. They can't necessarily ignore it. Maybe people will hear it, and a big voice will help connect the dots, because I do think that people pay attention to maybe more the national situation going on, some of the state. But I mean, just the idea that Pritzker got a pass after giving Goshen, the Chinese Communist Party back to Goshen, $500 million. Rivian, who's never made one red cent of profit, nearly $1 billion in tax incentives. I mean, this is insane, and the people wonder where their money's going. They're wasting hundreds of millions of dollars on these nonprofits that do nothing, that should not be government funded. I mean, maybe that would help if in 2026 somebody with a big voice and a lot of money behind that voice, because that's what Pritzker's got, $350 million behind his campaigns. And by the way, Pritzker played in these local races, and his lessers too, like Chris Welch came out to walk in Wheaton with the Democratic township candidates and the IEA endorsed candidates. Just sick.
Well, and not just one voice too, because it's more likely than not that Durbin is not running for re-election, so open Senate seat, which is obviously another important statewide race, and the prospect that even in midterm with Trump as the incumbent, there's a couple congressional districts that are certainly on the target list, maybe not tier 1, but on the national target list, Kasten and Sorensen. So, it'd be nice to have a chorus and not just one person, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, they have to run in tandem and run together. I will say the 6th district is, part of Peacock's loss came because he wouldn't do some Gaza resolution, and the Palestinian Muslims who are concentrated in the 6th district, by the way, the largest concentration in the entire United States of Palestinian Muslims, and not Muslims overall, are in the 6th congressional district. And you know what? They are starting to, they come together, they unite with one voice, and that was their big reason to take out Pekow. And that shameful, robocall that went out about Pekow's wife, literally saying that don't trust your kid if your Muslim kid's in Pekow's, Betty's classroom because her husband's a racist. I mean, that's the robocall that went out. I mean, it's just awful. It's just nasty, awful stuff.
That's slander. Is there any, I mean, I know you're probably working on trying to figure out who's behind that.
Well, I think Keith knows, but
everybody
he can't
knows.
do much. Yeah, everybody knows who's behind it.
Yeah, these rhinos doesn't even begin to describe these people. They're enemies inside the perimeter. That's another rolling problem. But that's the problem you have when you have no party leadership. It's just a warlordocracy, and it's been that way for, I mean, really, in the Republican Party, if we're being honest, in Illinois, it's been that way ever since George Ryan went away. It really has. Warlordocracy. Not a good way to organize. Warlordocracy is not a good way to run a party. The real story is Jeannie Ives' program Sunday nights on these airwaves, 7 to 9 p.m. Former state legislator, gubernatorial candidate Jeannie Ives. Jeannie, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Feeling the aches and pains of everyday life slowing you down? Introducing Blue Emu, America's #1 emu oil formula for pain relief. In a recent clinical trial, 91% of users saw improvement after using Blue Emu. Whether you're working hard, playing harder, or just staying active, Blue Emu penetrates deep to relieve joint and muscle pain fast. And best of all, you won't stink. Join the 91% who felt the difference. Find Blue Emu at your local retailer or online. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink.
With over 3 decades of serving up streetwise insight and local perspective on Page 2, the voice of John Cass has a home at johncassnews.com.
There's a new sheriff in town.
This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
But as he settles in, can you deal with the hysteria, the meltdowns, the constant whining?
I don't know what to do.
You know what you need? You need a good cup of common sense.
It's just common sense.
Like the kind of common sense you get when you subscribe to johncassnews.com. I'm John Cass, 40 years a journalist in Chicago.
That's the Chicago way.
I opened this website, John Cass News, so that you could have a decent cup of common sense.
This great country of ours was built on its entrepreneurial spirit.
It's time that you join the frontier of independent journalism at johncassnews.com.
Subscribe today to get access to great columns from John Cass, Dan Proft, and others. Don't be a chum alone and subscribe at johncassnews.com.
Oh, I kept hearing, why didn't I do it sooner? Hi, Amy Jacobson here, and I'm talking about QC Kinetics and regenerative medicine. If you have constant pain in your joints, you don't have to live like this. Try QC Kinetics. Call them. They'll walk you through the whole process of regenerative medicine. They'll see if you're a good candidate or not. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and the medical pros at QC Kinetics, which are located here in the Chicago area, are focused to finally get you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that help calm debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid, folks. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, without any downtime. Live a healthier life free of harmful meds. So to see if you're a candidate for these treatments, just remember that the consultation is free. Yes, so call now. Schedule an appointment, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955, QC Kinetics.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560. The Answer.
Speaking of the local, the police body cam footage of the arrest they made of Downers Grove South teacher Christina Formillo for statutory rape of one of her students.
Yeah, I saw that.
This was
Who, me? Wait, what?
This was interesting. And by the way, they pulled her over. She's in the car with her husband.
Uh-huh.
Boy.
Ouch.
Talk about another reason why Dan Proft is single.
You don't have anything on you? You can just grab whatever you need.
Whatever I need?
Yeah, whatever you need, like your phone, your purse, go ahead and grab it.
Is she going somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we're going to explain everything to you
yeah.
guys, so go ahead and turn around for me.
She gone.
Excuse me, is my husband coming with?
Yeah, he's taking his phone number down. We're staying in touch with him. We're just going to Downers Grove, so 10 minutes away.
No, I know, but I really would prefer that my husband's with me.
Too bad, honey.
Am I in trouble? Like, I'm so lost right now.
Sure you don't want a tissue or something?
I'm feeling I'm gonna throw up.
You want a bag?
Yes, please.
All right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was feeling like I was going to throw up when I read the text messages that she allegedly sent to her 15-year-old student that she was, I guess, tutoring and she also coached in soccer. I love you so much, baby. Even though this morning was short, it was perfect.
And the mom found this because she went on the iCloud and she downloaded all these gross text messages.
I love having sex with you, she allegedly texted. Now, she says that one day the boy in question grabbed her phone unattended, entered her passcode, sent the message to his phone, had the message deleted from her phone, and saved it to his phone as blackmail. That those text messages were actually to her husband and not to this 15-year-old student.
Are you buying that?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I wonder what her husband has to say about that. Yeah, I want my husband to be here. If he's aware of what you're being charged with, I doubt he wants to be there for you. But yeah, Downers Grove South. Scandal at Downers Grove South. Mark in Oak Lawn, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Dan, hi, Amy. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, I know with Mantino, that was awesome what happened. And I think what has to happen with the state of Illinois is that, Mantino, that's basically you're hitting rock bottom when you're letting Pritzker come in there and just do all this stuff that's going to ruin their town. And I think with the Republicans, in the state of Illinois, they look at Trump as being like, well, Trump is going to help carry us through because he's a Republican. But he's really not a Republican. He's an independent. And I think it's going to take a lot of work. And but I give you credit, Dan, because I know I love when you had those newspapers. You were sending those out and trying to expose. And that's half the battle right there. And I think the media is so complicit, especially the local media like Channel 2, Joel O'Donnell and Erica Sargent. They're so woke. It's terrible. And the newspapers that you sent out, great idea, and you need to do more of that. And it takes a lot of work. And I don't know if the Republicans are up for that. But Trump is not a Republican.
Well, he's a Republican, and a lot of the policies are center right, even conservative policies. So he is, but it doesn't. It just seamlessly transfer, and waiting for Trump or somebody else to save Illinois from itself is not much of a strategy. Coming up at 7:07, we'll turn our attention to matters of national security sort with Steve Bucci.
Wild weather on the way. It's now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
A win in Wisconsin for Democrats. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It keeps the state Supreme Court liberal-leaning.
This campaign has been an incredible, life-altering experience.
Susan Crawford won the most expensive state Supreme Court race in U.S. history. About $100 million were spent, a lot of it by Elon Musk, backing conservative Brad Schimmel.
I can't thank you enough for everything you did to try to make this a success, but it just didn't work.
2 Republicans won special elections in Florida.
You have entrusted me with something extraordinary, the opportunity to go and fight for you.
Randy Fine and Jimmy Petronis won open seats in Congress in heavily Republican districts despite being far outspent by Democrats in the campaign. It gives Republicans a slightly bigger House majority, 220 seats. President Trump is readying new tariffs today on more imports, targeting countries that charge for American exports. He calls it Liberation Day.
There's still a lot, though, that's still unknown, including what the president's announcement entails, the full details, also what countries might be able to work out deals to avoid this crackdown.
That's Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. They pulled another survivor from earthquake rubble in Burma, buried alive over 100 hours. But the number of deaths, nearly 3,000. Israel is hit Gaza with airstrikes that Palestinians say killed 30 people. The Israelis say they targeted a Hamas terror command center.
The militant group still holds 59 captives, of whom 24 are believed to be still alive. An estimated 140,000 people have been told to evacuate this week alone as the Israeli armed forces ramp up their offensive.
Fox's Jonathan Savage, a star of movies in the 80s and 90s, has died. Val Kilmer.
You figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot?
Kilmer's best known for his role as Iceman in Top Gun, playing him again in the sequel a few years ago.
The Navy needs Maverick.
It was Kilmer's last role. His voice weakened after throat cancer. Val Kilmer died of pneumonia at age 65. America's listening to Fox News.
Morning, it's 43 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560. The Answer Newsroom, I'm Nikki Whaley. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is recovering after his record 25-hour speech on the Senate floor. He says he has a good reason of why he had to stand up to the Trump administration.
They're going to try to push through a bill that's going to gut $880 billion from Medicaid. They're going to try to put forward to a bill that's going to give tax cuts to the wealthiest in our country, disproportionately trillions of dollars. It's outrageous, and we have got to try to stop them.
Many people were scratching their heads yesterday after this long speech, wondering what the point was. There wasn't any legislation that he was trying to prevent on the floor or anything going into effect. No filibuster. Many were wondering what the deal was. Now, the New Jersey Democrat started his marathon speech at 7 o'clock Eastern time on Monday. He says to protest the Trump administration. He's protesting Trump's tariffs, his steps to dismantle the Department of Education, and other policies that is putting the nation in crisis. John Lash is set to become the next mayor of Aurora. The alderman celebrated with his supporters after defeating incumbent Mayor Richard Irvin in yesterday's election.
This isn't my win. This is our win. And I want to just say, there's no longer going to be two Auroras, because this is not just how we ran a campaign. This is how we're going to run the city together.
Lash previously lost the mayor's race to Irvin in 2021. News is a service of Morcus Chocolates in Palatine, the one stop for handmade Easter goodies like their classic chocolate bunny, golfer bunny, crosses, jelly beans, and baskets galore. Stores in Palatine, Huntley, and Cedar Lake, Indiana, or shop online at morcuschocolates.com, MORKES chocolates.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Spring is in the air, and that means it's time to check the starting lineup. Leading off for AM 560 every morning at 5, it's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson, followed at 9 by Mike Gallagher. Moving up in the lineup, it's Charlie Kirk, now heard at 11. Then at 2, it's 2 full hours of Hugh Hewitt, followed by Sean Thompson at 4, Seculo at 7, and rounding out the lineup, Larry Elder at 8. Top to bottom, the best lineup in Chicago radio is right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
If you've listened to Money Hour Radio over the past decade, you know us. I'm Matt Nadeau.
And I'm Ben Barzida. For years, we've helped you navigate the markets, protect your wealth, and plan for the future. Now we're excited to introduce our next chapter, Barzida and Nadeau Wealth Management.
As an independent firm, we have the freedom to focus on you, not a corporation. Our gold medal service approach goes beyond investment management. We provide proactive financial planning, personalized tax strategies, and multi-generational wealth management, all tailored to retirees, business owners, and high net worth families.
No one-size-fits-all portfolios, no cookie-cutter advice, just customized strategies designed to help you protect, grow, and optimize your wealth.
If you've trusted us for insights on the radio, now let's work together to build your financial future. Visit bnwealth.com or call us at 847-780-2980.
Barzida and Nadeau Wealth Management, where independence means putting you first.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hawkburg Traffic Center. The Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 28 minutes. Outbound, about 15 minutes. On the Kennedy, inbound from Montrose to the Burn Interchange, 29 minutes. On the outbound side, about 39 minutes. On the Eisenhower, inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about 47 minutes. Outbound, 24 minutes. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, 56 minutes. Outbound, that's 27 minutes. Traffic is a service of Oak Lawn Home Show. Hey homeowners, make your home a dream home. See the latest home improvement products and speak with experts at the free admission home show this weekend in Oak Lawn. For details, visit oaklawnhomeshow.com today. That's oaklawnhomeshow.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now here's a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A couple of thunderstorms could be severe, mainly late today, otherwise clouds and windy today, more humid. Those hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. And then clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We've got to address this Bezos Post story because the left is already hyperventilating about it as they try to depose NSA Mike Walls and DoD Secretary Pete Hegseth over their handling of sensitive information. The Bezos Post reporting that one of Waltz's senior aides used Gmail, quote, for highly technical conversations with colleagues at other government agencies involving sensitive military positions and powerful weapon systems relating to an ongoing conflict, unquote. While the NSC official used his Gmail account, his interagency colleagues used government-issued accounts, headers from the email correspondence show. The spokesman for the National Security Council, Brian Hughes, saying it's an attempt to distract from President Trump's successful national security agenda. He goes on to say, let me reiterate, Waltz received emails and calendar invites from legacy contacts on his personal email and CC'd government accounts for anything since January 20th to ensure compliance with records retention, and he has never sent classified material over his personal email account or any unsecured platform. As to the Bezos Post report about the senior NSC official using Gmail, couldn't comment on it because, Hughes said, the spokesman, because the journalist refused, well, journalist, quotation marks too, scare quotes. The journalist refused to share any part of the document reported, so I can't comment on something you won't show me. Anyway, let's bring in our friend Steve Bucci to discuss this ongoing saga within the national security agencies about comms. Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official, now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, what say you as to this latest development?
Well, we discussed the main one before, the one they did with the signal conversation. And from what I understand with that, the signal was issued on their government phones. I don't know how they were briefed as to, signals encryption capabilities, which is pretty good for civilians, but not quite up to speed for the government. But the timing of their discussion, while frankly, I think a little ham-handed for that platform, did not put anything at risk. The Houthis don't have a big SIGINT capability that I know of, and even if the Russians or the Iranians listen to the signal conversation, we don't know that even if they had passed that information, holy smoke, the Americans are coming, anybody there would have been able to do anything but duck. They don't have a massive counter capability in Yemen for airstrikes or drone strikes or other kind of missile attacks. So that one I think is it was silly to do it that way. It's not a crime. It's not something that you're going to fire a cabinet official over. Now, the guy talking on Gmail, if that turns out to be true, that's somebody working in the NSC ought to know you don't talk about government stuff over Gmail. Mm-hmm. That's just not the way you do things. Again, we need to see exactly what was said. A good question is, how did Jeff Bezos get this information? Is he monitoring all the government customers he has to see if they use their Gmail for naughty things? If that's the case, I think you've got some sort of liability there for Jeff, because I don't think he's supposed to monitor individual conversations.
Well, right. I mean, we don't know that Bezos is the source of this story, though. I mean, just to be clear, but yes.
No, that's true. But he's promulgating it, and he owns the company. So
right.
Anyway, look, you should not talk about your business stuff over Gmail if you're in the national security realm of the government. So if that's true, that individual they need to investigate it. If that individual did that and it's determined that the information that he shared over that means was in fact classified information, then there's a whole spectrum of punishments, from a verbal rebuke to a formal letter to firing by Waltz, not by Congress, not by the press, but by Waltz, if he thinks the guy's behavior crossed a line. You can do a lot of stuff and not cross lines that require the public pillory that the Dems are basically calling for when anybody looks sideways in this administration.
Let me just pull back from this and just ask a larger question about Waltz and Hegseth and the team, the national security team. Do you have any concerns about their competence, the advice and counsel they're giving, the implementation they're doing with respect to a particular agency or the national defense strategy?
No. This stuff happens at the beginnings of administrations, or if you're in the Obama administration and you're Hillary Clinton, it can happen all the way through it, where you just think you are exempt from all the rules that the little people have to follow. This is not a new thing. This is not unique to this administration. But those two guys, Walsh and Hegseth, who were both military officers, should have known better and should have been a little more cognizant of this. For my taste, I have a pretty high standard about that kind of behavior with respect to the Dems in Congress, probably way higher than theirs. This was a mistake, not a crime, not something impeachable or fireable, in my opinion.
Yeah, but should they change the way they do business and not communicate on Signal app, maybe go old school and go into the Situation Room?
They don't have to do that. They've got classified phones. They've got classified means to do it, even if they're out doing their job. They don't all have to gather together, look face to face. But no, I wouldn't do Signal again. Obviously, Signal has some liabilities, particularly if you don't check who the heck else you put on the addressee line.
Well, that's it. I mean, it was not a failure of the app. There's no evidence that the app failed. It was a failure of organizing the meeting and making sure you know who's in it and who shouldn't be.
Exactly. Yeah. And so should they be more careful about that? Yes. Should their staffs, their immediate assistants, be watching the boss to make sure in the flurry of activity that a SecDef or national security advisor is constantly enveloped in? Should their staff be helping them make sure they don't say something at the wrong time or the wrong place? Yes. Okay, it's a brand new administration. There's going to be some mistakes like this. But is any of this fireable? No. That's political theater and political posturing, and it needs to stop. It doesn't help America. You don't get points because you get one of the guy you hate's cabinet members fired. It just hurts America. So stop doing it, Dems. It's really like your governor and all the junk he says all the time, which, by the way, I monitor mostly through following you guys on X. It's reprehensible and sort of unseemly behavior, but they seem to that's the only way they play.
Reprehensible and unseemly are Pritzker's calling cards. That's correct. I want to get your reaction to this story from a joint investigation by Catherine Herridge and Michael Schellenberger. We have to rely on independent journalists these days. FBI official admitting to House investigators that an FBI employee had inadvertently confirmed the authenticity of Hunter Biden's laptop on a Twitter conference call on the morning of October 14th of 2020, the day the New York Post published the story, in advance of the 2020 election, of course. Now we find out for the first time the FBI had internal chat messages that show the FBI's leadership put a gag order on its employees when it came to discussing the laptop. This has now been turned over to congressional investigators. An individual whose name is blacked out tells Elvis Chan, the San Francisco-based FBI special agent tasked with interacting with social media companies, there was a gag order on discussion of Hunter Biden's laptop. In a separate exchange, Chan is told the official response is no comment. The FBI officials in the chat showed awareness that the laptop may have contained evidence of criminal activity. And it just goes on basically to say, don't talk about it and no comment. And so forth. You know, they wanted to, and so they knew it was. I mean, again, we know that they knew it was real, and they went ahead with their information campaign anyway in advance of that November 2020 election. But it's always good to have the receipts, and now we're getting some of the receipts. And so this sort of operation that one could say was election interference by the FBI. And its election interference division, its criminal and its criminal division. What should be the consequences for this?
People should be fired. Christopher Wray and the former Attorney General need to be investigated and at the very least receive some sort of public verbal censure that they broke the rules. And if they stepped over the line, I'm not a criminal lawyer, so I can't make that call, they should be charged. These were clearly political decisions, pure and simple. You can't say, I'm not going to interfere with the election when your decision is, I'm not going to interfere with the election that hurts one side, but if it really screws the other side, that's okay. That's wrong and is criminal as far as I understand our statutes and the rules that the FBI is supposed to play under. So, no, they shouldn't get swept under the rug like all the stuff that Mrs. Clinton did at the end of her term in the Obama administration. We need to prosecute people. And I'm sorry, FBI agents, if you got those orders and obeyed them, we use the Nuremberg rule. You can't just say, hey, I'm just a good FBI agent or I'm just a good German. If you know the action is criminal, that's an illegal order. And you're not supposed to obey it. So it needs to trickle down below the big political level. But the big political people are really the key problem, clearly.
We talked to retired Colonel Tony Shaffer earlier in the week about Trump being upset with Putin, as he communicated to Kristen Welker at NBC News, because Putin was calling into question Zelensky's credibility as a leader, sort of intimating that regime change needed to be part of any lasting armistice with Ukraine, and threatening secondary tariffs on Russian oil. Schaefer's view was, well, that's not much of a stick, given Europe's penchant for buying Russian oil and natural gas on the black market. Number one. Number two, Putin knows, and we know, that Russia's on the advance in Ukraine, and Schaefer put it at about 2 months before Putin could potentially take the whole country. So if you accept those promises, if you don't, say so, but if that's sort of where things stand, then what would your advice and counsel be to Trump in terms of how to get a deal and prevent Ukraine from falling?
It sounds to me, I mean, if accepting all those things, I don't know for certain if those timelines are accurate or not, but accepting those, I would say that Trump does need to get a bigger stick out. And, what that is kind of between Trump and Putin. Those two do talk to each other differently, but, Trump cannot assume that Putin is a good faith negotiating partner. He's a bad guy. And, I'm not saying we should attack Russia or anything like that, but we need to put pressure on Putin to stop this. Like say, okay, if we're going to discuss regime change, how about change of view? We may make that a demand for this, that Russia get rid of you or something like that, and see where that conversation goes. You got to be tough with a bully, and Putin is a certified bully. Come on. Everybody knows that, regardless of what you think about Zelensky. Putin is not a good guy. He's not doing this to rescue Ukraine from Volodymyr Zelensky. He's doing it because he wants Ukraine. And that's just, we shouldn't enable that. But I get, we don't necessarily want to go to war over it. But Trump's got a lot of tools in his bag, and he knows that better than anybody else. He needs to start employing more of them with the understanding that Putin is not a good player.
Well, and so regime change in Russia. How credible is that threat? I mean, what about? I mean, the suggestion by just going back to Schaefer was, and he's not the only one, is probably need another carrot, like we will facilitate sort of your reentry into the global financial system, for example. You'll be less of a pariah country if you come along here, to make it economically worthwhile for Putin. I mean, you're right, he's a thug, but, thugs can also get bought off effectively.
Carrots always have to be a part of this. If all you use is a stick, people get numb. So some incentives to get them to do it would be helpful. I wouldn't pass off the threat of regime change. Putin's pretty paranoid about his safety and everything else. And if you give him the idea that we're now going to start either enabling others to go after him or doing it ourselves, that is not going to help him sleep at night. So and Trump's promises to do anything are way more credible than anything Biden ever did. Nobody trusted Biden to ever follow through with anything he was saying. I couldn't even remember when he walked out the door. But, Trump does remember and does actually do what he says. So those kind of threats are not completely ludicrous. And they do affect people who are paranoid, like Putin. So, but that said, you're totally right. There needs to be some incentives as well. The carrots have to be part of the program.
Stephen Bucci served America for 3 decades as an Army Special Forces officer and top Pentagon official. Now a visiting fellow in the Heritage Foundation's Allison Center for Foreign Policy Studies. Stephen, thank you as always.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
This is Larry Elder, inviting you to join me on the Alaska cruise this summer, along with Mike Gallagher, Jennifer Horn, and Joe Piscopo. Enjoy Alaska's breathtaking beauty like never before. Text the word TRAVEL to 94878 to reserve your cabin today. This luxury trip is your chance to experience majestic scenery, patriotism, and adventure. We set sail August 16th through the 23rd. Reserve your cabin today. Text TRAVEL to 94878. That's TRAVEL to 94878.
National security is at risk, and China controls most of the world's supply of antimony, a critical metal for military and defense technology. Military Metals Corp is taking action and securing a Western-controlled supply with projects in Europe and North America. Critical minerals are the backbone of modern defense. Now's the time to pay attention. The stock trades on the OTC under ticker MILIF. Call your broker today or go to www.militarymetalscorp.com to learn more.
Hi, Amy Jacobson here. With the crime we're seeing in Illinois, I know how important it is to keep my home and my family safe. That's why I chose Goldilocks for my home security. One of their awesome technicians just came over and gave me a free assessment of my home. They found vulnerabilities that intruders typically look for and created a personalized plan for me. Goldilocks offers state-of-the-art smart home security systems with HD cameras, motion detectors, smart locks, mobile notifications. As you know, crime in Illinois is out of control, and I'll sleep easier knowing that Goldilocks has my back. They even offer commercial security systems for any size business. Tell them Amy Jacobson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months of monitoring for free with any new install. Call Goldilocks today at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com. That's GoldilocksInc.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we'd be remiss if we did not mourn the passing of Val Kilmer, the great actor died of pneumonia, apparently, at the age of 65 after a long battle with throat cancer. Favorite Val Kilmer role?
Come on, Top Gun. Or Batman Forever, I don't know.
Top Gun, the original?
No.
Or Top Gun, his cameo in the last one?
Well, because he didn't have a speaking role in that one. I didn't see the last one because I don't like remakes.
He did. Yes.
Okay, because they said that he couldn't speak because of his throat cancer, so they dubbed that in, those lines. But Batman Forever, he was good. I mean, he was gorgeous back in the day.
Yes, he was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he was dreamy.
Real looker.
He was a great actor because he, Top Gun sort of breakout role,
Heat.
But he was great in Heat. He was great, obviously, as Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
That's right.
That was Academy Award worthy. But also the range. I mean, he was a really good comedic actor. He was excellent in Top Secret. He was excellent in Real Genius. Yeah, that's too bad. And Richard Chamberlain, although Richard Chamberlain was 90, Richard Chamberlain passed away the other day too. Mr. Thornbirds.
Thornbirds. Oh, he was dreamy too.
I hope they don't come in threes this time.
Oh, they always do. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
7:37. It's Liberation Day.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
According to Trump. So
what are you wearing?
We'll find out what his tariff program is when Steve Moore joins us at 7:37.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom once again. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 43 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. Democrats are declaring victory in Wisconsin after Dane County Judge Susan Crawford was projected the winner of the hotly contested seat of the state Supreme Court. Crawford defeated former Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel, who was backed by President Trump and Elon Musk. New tariffs are expected to take effect today against countries that President Trump says are taking advantage of the U.S. Trump is calling it Liberation Day and is expected to announce tariffs against Canada, Mexico, China, and the European Union. The president is expected to mark his executive orders with a Rose Garden event scheduled for 4 p.m. Eastern. That's 3 p.m. our time. And due to all this, European stocks are opening lower this morning as anxiety grows over President Trump's expected tariff announcement. The European stock index, Stoxx 600, was in the red this morning, down nearly 1% at 9 a.m. London time. A Chicago man is accused of stabbing 3 people on the city's northwest side. Melcher Rodriguez has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery. Defendants say that he took out a sharp object on Sunday morning when 2 groups were arguing in the 5700 block of West Grand Avenue. Rodriguez reportedly injured several victims. 2 women and a man were injured and are expected to be okay. News is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate any surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
When you need to talk about what's happening today,
hey, can I talk to you for a second?
There's one place you can come to. The Sean Thompson Show.
Do it! Do it, I dare you. Do it!
Get in the conversation.
Everybody talks about that show. Sounds great, doesn't he?
Weekdays starting at 4.
This is easy.
I like his honesty and his frankness. Every day I listen to him, I learn.
He says what's on his mind. He's real.
Best person out there to listen to. We're combating people who prefer the lie.
He's Sean Thompson, only on AM 560. The Answer.
You heard me talk about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too with their 3-week quick start kit for only $19.95, less than $1 a day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. Visit relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF for Relief Factor.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states and situations.
This wasn't how Patrick pictured himself in retirement. Instead of playing golf every day, he could barely walk because of his severe knee pain.
It hampered everything because it hurt to walk around the golf course. It hurt to swing, just pretty much hurt doing anything.
But the groundbreaking regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics changed everything for Patrick. QC Kinetics uses your body's own healing properties to help repair and restore damaged tissue in your knees, hips, back, and shoulders. No surgery, no drugs, no downtime.
The turnaround's been amazing from where I was to where I am now. I've gone from a 15 handicap down to a 7 handicap. That's because my knees allow me to play golf like I haven't been able to play probably in 15 years.
Don't let joint pain keep you from doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
It's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer techs and subcontractors. Oh no, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled techs. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. For 40 years, the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling has kept homeowners and business customers comfy and warm in the winter and nice and cool in the warmer months. Don't call the big guys, call the best. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.net. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
You never want to miss one of life's most important moments. A graduation, a birthday, a first communion, a wedding. When these moments happen, you want to make sure to capture them so that you and your loved ones can remember them for years to come. For over 30 years, families have relied on Tom Kaloran Photography to capture important life moments. This locally owned family business can provide the solutions you need for your important event photography, from weddings and birthdays to class reunions and golf outings. No matter the size or scope, Tom Kaloran Photography will make sure you have lasting memories to share for years to come. Tom Kaloran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see their portfolio, just visit KaloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Kaloran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center, the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 26 minutes. Going to be slow between Cicero and Montrose. On the outbound side, about 19 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, about 50 minutes. 40-minute delay in that area. On the outbound side, 36 minutes, 26-minute delay. Part of that's due to a stalled vehicle blocking a right lane between the Burn interchange and Ohio Street. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office is 58 minutes, a 43-minute delay. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now checking your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, mostly cloudy and becoming windy and more humid. A couple of thunderstorms could be severe. Downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Intervals of clouds and sun for tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Trump has a Rose Garden presentation scheduled for today to unveil his tariff plans. But before we get to that, there continues to be good news on a couple of fronts and some middling news on others. On the Doge front, it's nice to see, again, everybody on board. Everybody is under scrutiny. I'm talking about everybody, meaning every federal agency is under scrutiny. And the directors and cabinet secretaries are part of that scrutinizing, which is great. That's how it should be. Helping to root out WFA, waste, fraud, and abuse. Brooke Rollins, the latest example. She's the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. She was on a PragerU podcast and listened to a couple of examples of the WFA stuff that she found.
I mean, at USDA, we're canceling hundreds of thousands of dollars in individual contracts totaling tens of millions, hundreds of millions, where things like, sending $600,000 to San Francisco to support trans farmers and food justice.
Are there trans farmers?
In the last administration, I know, it makes no sense. Another massive grant went to a university in Louisiana to study the menstrual cycles in transgender men.
They don't
that was a thing. We found another grant for hundreds of thousands of dollars in Iowa to study how to make diversity, equity, and inclusion more a part of the pest management industry. Oh, no, you can't make this up.
That was a new one for me. I heard about the men's menstrual cycles deal, but the DEI in the pest control industry, that was...
that's something new,
That was a new one. That's great. But anyway, so Brooke Rollins is on the job. We saw Elon Musk recently met with John Ratcliffe over at CIA, so the national security agencies are under scrutiny, self-imposed as well. So Doge, I think, is still clicking along at a pretty good pace. Energy prices. Energy Secretary Chris Wright was on with Stuart Varney talking about energy prices coming down and capacity ramping up. And if your state is an outlier, well, your state is an outlier. There's a reason.
We've seen oil prices go down already. We've seen heating prices go down already. We've seen gasoline prices go down. And yes, we will see more of the same. A lot of it, Stu, is going to be about building infrastructure as well. One of the things President has pointed out, not only do we want lower American energy prices, but he's called out states that have expensive energy. Hello, California, New York, New England, and increasingly my home state of Colorado. If your state has expensive energy, it's because of choices made by politicians in those states to virtue signal somehow they're in some global mission. They're going to solve climate change by making your utility bills more expensive and your businesses want to relocate out of the states. That's just nonsense. And President Trump has called that out and has been pushing everyday common sense. Common sense. Common sense will deliver more investment in our country and lower energy prices.
Well, okay, so that's all well and good. But now on the tax side, both tariffs, which are taxes, as well as the tax cuts that are supposed to be forthcoming. Jason Smith, chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, seeming to indicate that he is open to the possibility of rate increases, not just the upper bracket, which we talked about a bit yesterday with Amity Schlaze, but also corporate tax increase. We need corporate tax cuts, like get it down to, Ireland's 15%, particularly to offset the potential negative impacts of tariffs on profitability. Don't we? For more on that, Steve Moore joins us, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity, again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Don't we, Steve? Does Jason Smith need a stern talking to?
Well, good morning, guys, and happy Liberation Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we wearing for Happy Liberation Day, Stephen Moore?
I don't know. I guess green. And I also just want to announce to your listeners that I only buy food from transgender farmers.
Yes, well, that is very.
I mean, how many transgender farmers are there?
Diverse of you. Yes.
If you're not transgender, I don't want your wheat or your corn or your beef. Okay.
Way to lead by example. Okay. All right. Good to know that about you. Now, Jason Smith.
Yeah. So listen, this is the most important. One of the most important economic lessons is that you want a good tax code has low tax rates and a broad, fair tax low tax rates, low and broad base, and so that really did. We broadened the base. The state and local tax deduction, for the most part, which was an absurd. I know some of your friends there in the Chicago area may not like it, but if you don't like it, go to a lower tax place. But then we lowered the rates. Lowered the rates. There's a great book on this by my buddy Arthur Laffer, the most famous economist in the world, that shows every single time that we have lowered tax rates, dating back to the start of the income tax, going back to the 1920s, 100 years ago. We've got more revenues, we've got more economic growth, and the economy has performed better for everyone. So this idea now that Republicans have to be retaught this lesson, that's a little depressing to me. You never raise tax rates. If you want to get more revenues, you could close a lot of loopholes in the tax system. How about, Dan and Amy, we get rid of all the green energy tax credits and all that stuff in the tax code?
Well, but I don't understand what's happening. So what is going on? I mean, you're part of the troika there.
Yeah.
What is Jason Smith doing? What is Trump doing?
Well, by the way, I'm very close friends with Jason Smith. I think he's a solid guy. I think he's been a great Ways and Means Committee chairman. That came out of left field. I have to talk to him because that doesn't sound like the Jason Smith that I've talked to. Now, there are other Republicans who publicly said, well, maybe we need to raise tax rates. These are the Republicans from blue states like Illinois, like New Jersey, like New York, the same Republicans who want to bring back the state and local tax deduction and say, well, we have to raise taxes on the rich. But wait a minute. Who are the people who benefit the most from bringing back the state and local tax deductions? Millionaires and billionaires living in Palm Springs, California, Hollywood, California, Manhattan, Long Island, and the rich suburbs of Illinois and Chicago. Right. So that's the biggest tax cut for the rich ever if you bring back the state and local tax deduction. But we got to get back. Look, it's very simple, Dan and Amy. Republicans have been off message now for a month. What is the only thing we've been debating on the economy for the last month? Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. So we're going to today. My schedule is jammed all day, and that I made a special case because I wanted to do your guys' show, but. I'm probably doing 25 interviews today. Every one of them is on tariffs. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be talking about tariffs. We want to be talking about tax cuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Jason Smith thing is baffling to me. I don't understand where the House Republican caucus is and why. This has to get moving. And as I said, I mean, I thought the plan was corporate tax cuts. And an extension of the Trump tax cuts and throw in overtime wages and throw in tips and fine and be done with it. Let's go.
Yeah, this is an important point. So if you're going to do the tariffs, I mean, one of the things Steve Forbes and I wrote in the Wall Street Journal about a month or two ago was, hey, okay, why don't we have a real flat tax, get the tax rate on everything to 15%, a flat tax on capital gains at 15%, on dividend income at 15%, on corporate income at 15%, the highest income tax rate to 15%, and then you could have a 15% tariff, which is just a kind of consumption tax. And it's flat, it's low, everybody pays it, and you're done with it. You get rid of all the special interest provisions. But the deal was, if you're going to do tariffs, as you just said, Dan, you got to bring down the corporate rate on things that are made here in America. But all I'm hearing is tariffs, and I'm not hearing a lot about all the other tax cuts that would offset that.
Hey,
sorry.
So what happens? Mess. What happens? What do you expect in the Rose Garden today for Liberation Day? What's he going to propose?
I think that Trump, and by the way, his strategy is reciprocity. He wants to force other countries to bring their tariffs down, and I think at the end of the day, he could win that. And I'm a fan of the president's, and I think that strategy could work. He said it's short-term pain for long-term gain. The problem is there's been a lot of short-term pain already. I mean, look at the stock market. It hasn't reacted very positively. My 401, I don't know about you guys, my 401k plan has taken a hit.
Yeah.
So, it's a question of how soon we can get these trade wars, over. I think Trump will win in the end, but is this going to take a week, a month, 6 months, a year?
So you don't know?
I just don't know. Yeah.
Well, Israel canceled tariffs on American imports.
I know. That was a big
so
deal.
That's something.
And so did he has been getting concessions from other countries. Israel, Mexico's made some concessions. So I think the concessions are going to start coming, but this is a tough period. I mean, the gold price went up to almost $3,200 yesterday, and that is a rush to safety. Because remember, it was below 3,000 just a couple months ago.
Right.
So when people start buying gold, they're afraid, and we don't want an environment of fear. We want an environment of optimism.
Yeah, but when you think about the auto, the tariffs on auto parts, I mean, you can have a plant in America, but you'll have a stamping plant where the parts come from Canada and Mexico. I mean, this is a hot mess.
It is a bit of a hot mess, and I've been talking to manufacturers for the last several weeks. Manufacturers here in the United States were saying, "Look, our supply chains are getting all messed up right now. We get stuff from Vietnam, we get stuff from Mexico that comes in, and then we manufacture it, et cetera." So I guess I'm not going to use that term. You used it, but I think it's a very a very dangerous situation right now. And I just want Republicans to get back on the message. If for the last month we'd been talking about tax cuts, not tariff increases, I think we'd be a lot better off as a country. And I think Trump's numbers would be a lot higher than they are today.
Well, right. And I mean, even to the extent, I mean, some clarity is going to be provided today, which will be helpful in and of itself. And he's securing a lot of foreign direct investment and more's to come. And I understand he's trying to reindustrialize the country, and that's going to take some time. But there's no defense to not moving an extension with those additions of the Trump tax cut. I mean, you're talking about a $5 trillion tax increase if this doesn't get done, and then you're going to see a recession.
Boy. Yeah,
for sure.
That's right. And listen, Trump's heart is in the right place here. He really, there's an old saying: you dance with the one who brung you, and the people who won this election for Trump are those middle class, blue collar workers.
Right.
I have some skepticism that the tariff strategy with respect to, for example, steel and aluminum tariffs are going to work, because you actually raise the price of cost of steel and aluminum if you put a tariff on, and that means that cars are more expensive, that all the things that we manufacture become more expensive, construction projects, et cetera. So we did learn from the first term that steel tariffs were pretty counterproductive. We gained about 3,000 steel and aluminum jobs, but we lost about 10,000 other manufacturing jobs because that production moved away from the United States. So we'll see. Look, I'm going to bet on Trump. I do think right now, I'm not a financial guru, but stocks are, let me put it, a year or two from now, the prices today are going to look really good. So I don't think people should panic and sell their stocks. If anything, now I think is a pretty good buying opportunity. And I'm not saying that the sell-off is over. It may not well be, but I'm saying, look, in Trump's first term, Dan and Amy, the NASDAQ was up over 100%. The S&P 500 was up over 65%, and the Dow was up over 50%. So Trump does have a track record here of being pretty friendly to investors.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not panicked about it either, and I think you're right in terms of a buy opportunity. But that's predicated on tax cuts happening as envisioned.
And by the way, Dan, not just tax cuts, but also look at
the spending side
story
too,
in the Wall Street Journal about the savings of up to $1 trillion from deregulation. The fact that you mentioned what Doge is doing, it's amazing. And by the way, Amy, why is it that Elon Musk is some kind of villain? Why are they spray painting Teslas when he's exposing the fraud, the incompetence, and the criminal activity that's going on in our government where people are being ripped off? Why is that? Why does that make him a villain?
I don't know. He used to be celebrated, but he was celebrated when he was supporting Obama. And now they're using gasoline. Oh my God, the dreaded gasoline to bomb electric cars. I mean, it's just so hypocritical. And here in Chicago, I mean, Democrats are hurting Democrats who own EVs. So
Hey, Steve, did you get to go to dinner with Kid Rock and Bill Maher and the president?
Yeah.
No, they didn't get. I never got the invitation.
No invite
I'm just not on that A-list anymore.
Not the cool kids.
But I did see, by the way, that I was very glad to see that the teachers' unions got big pay raises and more money in schools.
$1.5 billion deal. That's great.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have a nurse at a school that has, 27 students. It's going to be great.
It continues to go swimmingly.
I just have one other question for you guys. Are they going to put little labels on like oranges and bananas and food that this food was grown by a transgender farmer? Because it's hard to know
how many transgender farmers there are in America. What do you think is the number, guys?
Apparently they're congregating in San Francisco because that's where the grant money went. Steve Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again. Hopefully it will. The plan to unleash prosperity again will be followed. Stephen Moore, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160. Hope for your life.
And paid for by the Sentinel Group. Has video game addiction shattered your family? You're not alone. Today's $200 billion video game industry intentionally hooks kids, fueling isolation, chaos, depression, even suicide attempts. According to a recent American Psychological Association study, compulsive gaming significantly increases the risk of severe depression and self-harm among teens. Your family may qualify for significant compensation. Call now for your free consultation. 800-856-9519. That's 800-856-9519. Big gaming profits while families suffer. Enough is enough. It's time these powerful companies answer for the harm they've caused. This is not a class action. Your family has individual rights, and your voice matters. Fight back, hold them accountable, and protect others from experiencing the same pain. Call 800-856-9519 now. Again, 800-856-9519. Your call matters. Call 800-856-9519. That's 800-856-9519.
President Trump has made some pretty amazing claims since he's taken his seat as president. He's delivering on what he promised. On Inauguration Day, Trump's very first declaration was,
"The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish."
Consider this. Since the election, gold has shot up hundreds of dollars per ounce, shattering all-time record highs. Fox Valley Coins does not pretend to know the future, but they do know that if you're buying or selling gold or silver, they are the place to do it. These are some of the top reasons people choose a dealer. You want a national dealer with a local presence you can deal with face-to-face. You want a large selection, the best prices, and great service. You want to walk in with cash and walk out with the best product. You want to deal with legacy dealers with integrity. Whether buying or selling or just one valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your answer for choosing a dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Spring. A time to get outside, be active, play with the grandkids, enjoy life. But if high blood pressure is holding you back, the sooner you get control of it, the sooner you'll stop being a walking time bomb. High blood pressure is a serious issue. Your blood vessels are constricted, your mortality risk is high. So what can you do besides take medications with side effects? Well, there's a delicious juice that can help bring your numbers back down. It's called 120 Life, and it has natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Yes, a superfood juice is showing amazing results for high blood pressure without the side effects of big pharma medication. Try 120 Life risk-free now with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. That's 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout for 15% off.
Don't miss In Grace with Pastor Jim Scudder Jr., now heard on Sunday mornings at 7:30. Tune in and find hope as Jim Scudder explores God's Word and His world each Sunday morning right here on AM 560, The Answer. AM 560, The Answer.
We get new sticks, Dan? You mentioned golf clubs are expensive.
No, I'm just saying the price will go up with steel and aluminum going up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not planning to. Maybe a driver.
All right. What are you using right now?
An old
using.
Titleist T1.
How long have you had it?
A while, about 5 years.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right.
But it works.
All right.
Coming up at 8:08, we'll talk Cory Booker's filibuster and Wisconsin State Supreme Court race. Rich Lowry, National Review, 8:08.
It's going to be warmer today, but nasty weather coming in later this afternoon. It's 8 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's Liberation Day in America. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump posted that this morning, all caps, on Truth Social as he readies new tariffs on countries that charge for American exports.
We are focused on restoring the golden age of America and making America a manufacturing superpower.
Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt at the White House, where Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports.
There will be some kind of new charge applied to all countries coming today, as well as sector-specific tariffs. Steel and aluminum imports are already subject to a 25% charge, and 25% will also be applied to auto imports starting tomorrow. That includes auto parts.
But there is concern, especially on Wall Street, where futures are falling, about tariffs leading to more inflation. Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna tells Fox.
We made a colossal mistake in this country with 90,000 factories shutting down, leaving for China, leaving for Mexico. The problem I have is that there's not a comprehensive plan.
Democrats scored a win in Wisconsin, electing Judge Susan Crawford to the state Supreme Court, beating conservative Brad Schimmel in a very expensive race, attempting to shift the court's balance to the right.
And it seems Wisconsin voters weren't really swayed by the star power of Elon Musk. In fact, a lot of them said that they were pushing back at the idea of a rich outsider coming in, spending money to try to impact the Wisconsin vote. It was also the first time Wisconsin liberals had an opportunity to push back at Donald Trump.
That's Fox's Mike Tobin in Madison. Republicans did win 2 special elections in Florida for 2 vacant seats in Congress, giving the GOP a slightly bigger House majority now with 220 seats. It's up to nearly 3,000 people dead in the Burma earthquake disaster.
While most rescue teams are only pulling bodies from the rubble, a 26-year-old man has been found alive in the wreckage of the hotel where he worked. It's 5 days since Burma and neighbouring Thailand were hit by a 7.7 magnitude quake. International aid efforts are continuing.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
Good morning. It's 45 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. President Trump will hold an event at the White House today calling it America's Liberation Day. That's when new tariffs are expected to take effect against Canada, Mexico, China, and the European Union. The White House says the tariffs will undo decades of countries, quote, taking advantage of the U.S. Democrat-backed Judge Susan Crawford is the winner of the open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Crawford defeated Republican-backed former Wisconsin Attorney General Brad Schimmel. While technically a nonpartisan race, it became the target of millions spent by groups linked to Elon Musk who supported Schimmel. A pair of candidates are celebrating victories to replace Tiffany Henyard as mayor of South Suburban Dalton, and Thornton Township Supervisor Jason House spoke after defeating independent Cassandra Hobson Jordan in the Dalton mayor race.
We had a good turnout of people. Everybody's united, and we want to move the village forward.
Henyard's time as mayor was marred by controversy that included a number of investigations. State Senator Napoleon Harris III addressed his supporters after he was elected Thornton Township Supervisor. News is a service of Oaklawn Home Show. Hey homeowners, make your home a dream home with one easy visit to the free home shows this weekend in Oaklawn, then at Lake County Fairgrounds, Grayslake in April. For details on the show nearest you, visit freehomeshow.com today. That's freehomeshow.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes, but now time for the Signature Bank Business Beat.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are under pressure again as investors wait for the reveal of Trump administration tariffs today. European shares are trading lower, and Bitcoin is holding around the 85,000 mark. Volvo Cars says its sales declined 10% in March. Sales of its fully electric cars slumped. Volvo cars are majority owned by China's Geely. This week's Hooters bankruptcy is the latest in a string of casual dining restaurants in trouble. The Wall Street Journal says Red Lobster, TGI Fridays, and Buca de Beppo filed for Chapter 11 last year. And this year, Bar Louie and On the Border, Mexican Grill and Cantina, also filed to reorganize. Restaurants are dealing with inflation, sluggish sales, and mounting debt. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jimmy Coselda, invested in you.
Larry Elder sets the record straight.
So Obama and Biden took positions regarding Ukraine and Zelensky that Trump took. Except in Trump's case, unlike Obama, who gave Zelensky sheets and blankets, Trump gave them Javelin missiles. And yet people say that Trump is soft on Russia. You people should listen to more talk radio.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicagoland certified financial planning professional Tim Stearns discusses taxes in retirement.
Most people are paying more in taxes and keeping less of their money to live and do what they enjoy. That's why we've put out the Retirement Tax Bill Calculator online. You can see with your own eyes just how much you might be overpaying. It's a valuable tool, $500 value, but we made it free for you to view and run your own numbers at MVPCFP.com. That's MVPCFP.com.
To run your retirement tax bill calculator, go to MVPCFP.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC.
So how's the separation going? Are you guys able to work things out?
No. I think we're headed for divorce.
That sucks. Gonna be an expensive legal battle?
Well, no, that's one thing we agree on, actually. Arbitration.
Arbitration? Like mediation?
Sort of, but better. We'll have a firm decision.
Oh, that's easier. Who's your arbitrator?
Bert Hochberg.
That attorney at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck?
Yeah, senior partner. Comes highly recommended.
Are you facing divorce or a family law issue? Burton S. Hochberg offers arbitration services, a dispute resolution process that will save you time, money, and the complexity of litigation. Let Burton hear and resolve your claims with choices that best suit you and yours. To discuss, call Bert directly. Or even better, have your attorney call Bert at 773-255-6150. That's 773-255-6150. Again, 773-255-6150. No one knows arbitration like Bert Hochberg. Why go through a difficult divorce? Call Bert at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, Chicago's preeminent family law firm since 1981.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. The Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 26 minutes, about a 7-minute delay. It's going to be stop and go between Foster and Montrose. On the outbound side, about 24 minutes. On the inbound side of Kennedy from Montrose to the Burn interchange, 57 minutes, 48-minute delay. On the outbound side, about 31 minutes, 22-minute delay. Now on the Eisenhower, this is going to be inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about a 49-minute delay. On the outbound side, about a 14-minute delay. On the Stevenson, inbound from the Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about a 38-minute delay. On the outbound side, about a 12-minute delay. Traffic is a service of Anthony DeGrotto, your Chicagoland State Farm agent. His team will work to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Like a good neighbor, Anthony DeGrotto State Farm is there. DeGrottoSF.com. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a quick check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
A couple of thunderstorms could be severe, mainly late today, otherwise clouds and windy today, more humid. Those storms could also come with some downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48, and then clouds and sun tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yesterday, a man who once said the filibuster has been abused to stop reforms supported by the vast majority of Americans, from background checks to protecting the right to vote. We must stop this abuse of power.
Oh.
Get rid of the filibuster.
What great man said that?
Cory Booker said that, and then he set the record for the longest filibuster in American history. Here's some of his more theatrical Jimmy Swagger televangelist riffing during his 25-hour rant.
To call to the conscience of this nation, to say, I will not stand for another American to lose their health care for a billionaire. I will not stand for another veteran who's dedicated to stopping the suicide of other veterans to lose their job. I won't stand for the air quality in my community to be made worse because they're letting polluters pollute more. I won't stand for the collective assaults on the Constitution by a man who even the highest judge in our land, a Republican-appointed judge, said stop threatening and bullying other branches of government. When is it going to be enough? My voice is inadequate. My efforts today are inadequate to stop what they're trying to do. But we, the people, are powerful. We are strong. We have changed history. We have bent the arc of the moral universe. And now is that moral moment again. It's the moral moment again. God bless America. We need you now. God bless America. If you love her, if you love your neighbor, if you love this country, show your love.
We have sinned.
Touch the TV and you shall be healed. Well,
okay.
This guy's a hero,
right.
Dan. He fasted for days so that he wouldn't have to go to the bathroom during his 25-hour-long filibuster. He's a real hero, and he said that he stopped eating on Friday, stopped drinking on Sunday, the night before he started on Monday, and he was cramping during those 25 hours.
Menstrual. And he also dedicated the filibuster to Rosario Dawson, his pretend girlfriend.
Oh, I remember that.
And then I also saw this story. Cory Booker staffer was arrested at the Capitol for carrying a pistol without a license. T-Bone? Anybody? Was that T-Bone? Is T-One back? Is T-Bone back in Cory Booker's life? This is, I mean, that's the kind of... I don't know. Is this what I know? The Wisconsin State Supreme Court result is going to put a little kick in the step of the new Marxists. But is this any better than Pagliacci Schumer leading rallies or former NIH director Francis Collins singing '60s protest songs? I don't know if this gets it done to re-energize the new Marxist party, but. Perhaps for more on this topic and the results in that Wisconsin State Supreme Court race I mentioned, Rich Lowry joins us, editor of National Review, author of The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, if you can wipe away the tears after listening to Cory Booker, pull yourself together. We appreciate it.
I don't know what was more compelling, the cliches or the faux emotion. It was really quite a performance. I didn't realize he was cramping. It would have been great, like a football player. He had to go down on the ground, and a coach medic came out and stretched his legs.
Yeah, stretch out his calf.
Carted off the Senate floor.
Yeah, it couldn't have been any members of his caucus because they're all 90. Yeah.
Yeah, but he did this because he wants to run for president in 2028, right?
We all do. We all want him to run.
Yeah, he's so pathetic. There's never any substance or anything to what he does. It's so Cory Booker to do a non-filibuster for 25 hours. There's no legislation. There's nothing he was stopping. He was just talking for 25 hours.
He had a lot of things that he wanted to say. He feels things deeply, Rich, and he has to get it out.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, if all this the drum circles for rift, 0.15% of the federal workforce that got riffed, and Francis Collins' original compositions, and Cory Booker speechifying, and vandalizing Teslas, if that's not going to work, then what do you think that, to the extent there are identifiable serious people on the left, are thinking, perhaps, as I said, buoyed by yesterday's result in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I mean, what's going to save them is we have a two-party system, so parties just never go away, and there's always a reaction to the party that's in power, and we saw it last night. Republicans held the seats in Florida, but the margins were smaller, and they lost in Wisconsin. And this is just the way it goes. Republicans are going to lose the House. With almost certain they're going to lose the House. It's just the way it goes. It's a natural reaction. And then you see, if you figure something out as the out party, it's a presidential candidate who figures it out. So is there someone more compelling than what seemed to be the current crop? Is there someone with an interesting theory? You know, when you win the presidency, you're like Trump or Obama, you come up with a whole new way of doing it. So who's going to do that on the Democratic side? We won't know that for a couple of years.
And it's so in terms of Wisconsin, and as you say, the smaller margins in victory margins in Florida as compared to, say, how Trump did in those congressional districts in November. You just think that's just part of the cyclical nature of things. Yeah. It doesn't really say anything about the Republican Party or the viability of the Trump agenda or anything like that.
No, man, I've been through this so many times now. You know, I've been doing this for like 30 years, and every special election after a new president's in, it's like, oh my gosh, he's in such trouble because his party lost a special election or underperformed. It's just the way it goes. And now there is this interesting phenomenon that Republican voters are now lower propensity voters than Democrats. So to the extent, people say, oh, Republicans are engaged in voter suppression, they're making it harder for people to vote. Well, if we are doing that or not, it's going to affect our people more than theirs now. So they have the people who like to vote more and do it more often. And also, just when Trump's not on the ballot, it's tough for Republicans now. He gets those marginalized voters out. If he had been on the ballot last night, they would have won those Florida races by their custom margins, and very well may have won in Wisconsin. But if he's not on the ballot, it's just hard for Republicans to get their people out.
Do you analogize this at all? We were talking about it a bit earlier in the program, and I sort of said, like it was reminding me of and seeing this happen again and again with Trump over the last almost decade now. It reminds me of Reagan Democrats. There was a reason they were called Reagan Democrats, because they were Democrats who liked Reagan. It didn't mean that they became Republicans or were going to be in lockstep or turn out for every election for for rank and file Republican candidates.
Yeah, they're these marginal voters, and Trump went and got them in really unusual ways last year, right? He goes on all the podcasts. So he needs not like the old white lady from the country club to vote so much. Still needs her to some extent. He needs the guy who's sitting on his couch with a bong on his coffee table and an OnlyFans account to get to come out and vote. Right?
Perfect. Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, he's not doing it for Brad Schimmel, but he's doing it for Trump, and because Trump's different and interesting and entertaining the way no other Republican or politician on the planet is.
Do you think if Elon Musk came out earlier than rather the weekend before the election, that this would have had a different outcome?
I think it was probably a bad idea for him to go personally, but it was a good idea for him to fund it. There's this line of analysis of Democrats have overcome Elon Musk's millions, but he only came in because Democrats were massively outspending the Republicans because they had all the support from their billionaires. So he was just counteracting a financial advantage they had. But I think it was unhelpful for Elon to make it about him because that just gins up the other side. I just would have done the organizing and the finance without showing up in the cheesehead hat, although the guy is he's as close as you get to Trump as an entertainer with instantly iconic images, right? Who can resist a picture of him in a cheesehead hat?
What do you think if he would have given all 600,000 cheeseheads who voted for Trump in either 16, 20, or 24, if he would have given each one of them $1 million? Would that have helped?
maybe it would have done
or 1,000 each. I mean, that would have gotten him. I mean, it's so hard to wrap your head around why they just stay home. All those people, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, have voted for Trump in Wisconsin, and they didn't go out yesterday
because they're smoking dope and they're on their OnlyFans account. You just heard the profile.
They have more important things to do. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a special election for a Supreme Court seat, and that's not very interesting compared to
sexy
a
enough.
big national election, right, with Trump in it.
All right, maybe Brad Schimmel should have got an OnlyFans account. I'm still wrestling with that profile being, sort of how Western civilization rises or falls based on that demographic. Yeah. The Trump policy agenda and how things are going on the big ticket items, meaning border security, the DOJ effort. And some of the cultural issues too, and I guess certainly what's happening in the Rose Garden today, tax and spend policy. So fold the DOJ into that. What's your assessment 70 days in? Well,
a huge success at the border. Right now, it needs to be sustained with some policy changes and some more resources. But that was, he promised to get peace in Ukraine in 24 hours. But this was something I always thought he would do in 24 hours, and he did. Shutter the border. That's a fantastic success. The anti-DEI stuff, which is still ramifying around the country as we speak. University of Michigan, that went in hugely, more than any other school for this stuff, is rolling it back and tearing it up. That's just hugely important. DOJ, I think directionally, it's all correct. I think that the implementation's been a little chaotic, and you got legal issues. So we got to wait until the dust settles to see where that is. And I'm concerned about the tariff. I think I'm old school. I think tariffs are tax increases. I think the uncertainty around this has been bad, and it's going to be, it's not going to cause a recession necessarily, but it's a suppressant on the economy, and people really care about prices. So I think that's the big political criticism I would make. Prices was a huge issue for him in the campaign. He promised to lower them. And then as soon as he was elected, he's like, you know what, it's really hard to deal with prices. And then he has this policy with tariffs that's going to increase prices. So that's the biggest political risk in my mind.
Rich Lowry, editor of National Review, author of The Case for Nationalism, How It Made Us Powerful, United, and Free. Rich, thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And he, joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Virago is fending off viruses and making America healthy again.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. I'm one of the co-developers of Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Virago was formulated to boost your immune system to fight off the viruses that you encounter every day. I made Virago into a liquid formula to improve the absorption and to provide a rapid response for your immune system. Taking Virago every day helps your immune system fight off all types of daily assaults. Go to myvirago.com. That's myvirogo.com and receive 30% off using promo code IMMUNE. And remember, Maha starts with Virago.
Boost your immune system with Virago. Order your bottle today. Visit myvirago.com. That's myvirogo.com.
And use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%.
That's myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Are you an administrator, staff member, or parent volunteer at a private school? Would you like to grow your current enrollment and welcome new families to your school? If so, we want to tell you about a great opportunity to help increase enrollment and promote your school to families all across Chicagoland. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. They work to connect private schools with new families who are looking for discounted first-year tuition. In exchange, your school will receive a marketing campaign to help grow your enrollment. Chicagoland School Vouchers does all the work to bring new families together with your school and help you expand your reach. They've been working with schools across Chicagoland for over a decade. As the demand for school choice grows here in Illinois, your private school needs to take advantage of this program. To learn more, just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. That's ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com.
Hey, Amy Jacobson here, and oh my God, I was speechless when I saw my new garage floor. Level 10 Coatings did such an amazing job, and now my garage floor shines. Level 10 Coatings specializes in expert garage floor coatings for both residential and commercial spaces. Their floors are durable, easy to maintain, and best of all, done in just one day. Hey, if you've been thinking about upgrading your garage floor with that shiny new showroom look, please call my good friends at Level 10 Coatings at 855-510-2628 or book your free consultation online at level10coatings.com. And here's a bonus. Mention me, Amy Jacobson, and you'll get $500 off your project. Call 855-510-2628 or visit level10coatings.com today or call 855-510-2628.
This is Hugh Hewitt for townhall.com. NPR, National Public Radio, is helmed by Catherine Marr, who testified last week before the DOJ subcommittee of the U.S. House Oversight Committee. It didn't go well for her because she had spent years on X, even when it was Twitter, with some very outrageous takes that were exposed. The bottom line is this. NPR is hard left. Not center left, not left-leaning, hard left. That's an objective assessment. I don't think you could find 10% of its staff that support President Trump. I don't think you could find 5%. Let's just be candid. NPR is an ideological machine that has a mission to make America think like its staff does. Leftists. NPR is simply radio with funding from the government and its enthusiasts. Well, bravo to those enthusiasts. That's what the First Amendment's all about. But it is time to end the federal subsidy for good. It's long past time to end the ruse of listener-supported NPR. It's taxpayer-supported NPR, and that has got to end.
AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I want to make sure everybody noticed this and properly observed it. We were focused on yesterday's election, so we didn't give it the attention that it deserves. But some of the leading lights to the left, thankfully, were on the job. Like Field Marshal Tim up there in Minnesota.
They can send out any damn executive order they want from Washington, D.C., because in the state of Minnesota, it's my privilege to make sure that I therefore declare Monday, March 31st, 2025, as Transgender Day of Visibility across the state of Minnesota.
Did you go like this and gesticulate like crazy?
And not to be outdone, jazz hands. Not to be outdone.
Tampon Tim.
You know, you're not going to get to the left of Jelly Belly Pritzker.
Hi, I'm Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, and it is Trans Day of Visibility, and I want everybody to know that you're protected. We will stand up for you, and we need you to speak out and speak your truth. It's very important, and it will make a difference to a lot of young people and people who are a little bit afraid right now. So thank you very much for everything that you will do on this Trans Day of Visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Who's afraid and what are they afraid of? Yes.
I'm going to cede my time. It's nice when somebody else makes the argument for me, in part. This woman who characterizes herself as an OG lesbian. You know what OG means, right?
Original? OG?
Original.
Okay.
Original. There's another letter there.
Oh,
you don't know OG?
OG.
And you think you're street?
I try to be street. Maybe I'm losing my street cred. Oh, no.
I'm an OG breakdancer.
Original goat?
Original gangsta.
Oh, original gangsta. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So here's an OG lesbian responding to the TQIA2S++++++, as you know, distinguished from the LGB.
This is a message from an OG lesbian. The acronym LGBTQ+ is not a representation of a united community, but the strategic force teaming of the LGB with the TQ+ that serves a dark agenda. to rebrand sexual fetishes and disorders as sexual orientations. For what was once a legitimate civil rights movement, gay rights, has been hijacked, quite literally, by the TQ+ and used as a Trojan horse to mainstream their degeneracy. First, we have the untouchable Ts, the trans cult, who want to sterilise children with puberty blockers, turn all homosexuals into surgical simulations of straight people, and destroy women's rights to enable men's fetishes. Then we have the Qs, young men feminised by sissy porn, furries and pups who fetishise bestiality, and even adult babies who fetishise infancy are all accepted and protected by the rainbow umbrella that magically transforms all scrutiny into bigotry. But the thing that requires the most scrutiny is the unspecified plus at the end, a placeholder for what's coming next. MAPS, or minor attracted people, a euphemism that is already being used to describe pedophiles who are waiting in the wings for their time to shine. Because the LGBTQ+ sexual psyop is not about promoting tolerance of diversity. It's about grooming society to accept depravity. And as an L, I renounce all association with it and the LGBs who are accessories to the fact. And I urge you to do the same and join the movement for LGB without the TQ+, because we need to divorce people and we need it stat.
All right. How about that? I'll let the OG lesbian take this one. Yeah, it's better to have her lead the fight.
Yes. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38 in our latest installment of Campus Beat, the average college student, one professor's perspective, pretty entertaining and depressing at the same time, 8:38.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Nikki Whaley.
Good morning. It's 45 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. China's launching a surprise military exercise in the waters near Taiwan. The Chinese military today conducted live fire drills in the East China Sea and in the Taiwan Strait. The surprise drills come just days after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth made his first visit to Asia and vowed to counter China's aggression in the region. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether a state can remove Planned Parenthood clinics from its state Medicaid program. The state in question is South Carolina, where Planned Parenthood operates 2 clinics that provide medical care for low-income patients through Medicaid. Cook County Chief Judge Timothy Evans is taking over the electronic monitoring program from the Sheriff's Office. Starting today, anyone placed on electronic monitoring once they're deemed a flight risk or a danger to the public will be overseen by the Adult Probation Department. The Sheriff's Office, which has issues that prevent it from safely administering the program, will continue handling its current caseload of people on monitors. Judge Evans says his office will need more than 50 new hires, new office space, additional training, and more resources to run the expanded operation. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Overpaying for dental implants is over. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get your smile back. Check if you qualify at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. A check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes on AM 560 The Answer.
Spring is in the air, and that means it's time to check the starting lineup. Leading off for AM 560 every morning at 5, it's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson, followed at 9 by Mike Gallagher. Moving up in the lineup, it's Charlie Kirk, now heard at 11. Then at 2, it's 2 full hours of Hugh Hewitt, followed by Sean Thompson at 4, Seculo at 7, and rounding out the lineup, Larry Elder at 8. Top to bottom, the best lineup in Chicago radio is right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, John. Need any help over there?
Oh, hey, Chris. Oh, I'm good. Just digging some new flower beds and planting a couple shrubs.
You sure you should be doing that?
You know, with your high blood pressure and all?
It's all good. I got my blood pressure under control now.
Really? New medication?
No, a superfood juice that is absolutely delicious.
A juice?
Yeah, it's 120 Life. It has 6 natural ingredients that have shown to control blood pressure.
Wow, in a juice?
Yep. So controlling my blood pressure tastes great and I feel great.
I wonder if 120 Life could fix my procrastination getting yard work done.
Not sure about that, but it sure helped me.
Certainly has. You and your yard look great.
Try 120 Life risk-free and get a 2-week trial pack. Order the 8-ounce drink or powdered mix. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can noticeably lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now. 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout to save 15% and get free shipping.
Attention all listeners, financial planners, CPA, and divorce attorneys. In 2021, there were over 420,000 licensed loan originators. Today, that number is down to 93,000. That's a reduction of over 75% of licensed loan officers within the past 4 years. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender who's still in business. While mortgage companies have been closing and hundreds of thousands of loan officers have left the business since 2021, Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever and would love to earn your business. Let's review. Hundreds of mortgage companies have closed down and over 327,000 loan officers exited the mortgage business, while Team Hochberg has expanded and is stronger than ever. If you'd like to work with experienced mortgage professionals who'll appreciate your business, call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Taking a look at the roads from the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. On the Edens inbound from Lake Cook to Montrose, 21 minutes. On the outbound side, 23 minutes. On the Kennedy inbound from Montrose to the Burn interchange, about a 50-minute delay. On the outbound side, about a 28-minute delay. On the Eisenhower inbound from Wolf to the old post office, about a 47-minute delay. On the outbound side, about an 11-minute delay. On the Stevenson, inbound from Tri-State to Lakeshore Drive, about a 42-minute delay. On the outbound side, it's about a 9-minute delay. This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, but now a check of your forecast from the National Weather Service.
Today, mostly cloudy and becoming windy and more humid. Couple of thunderstorms could be severe. Downpours, hail, damaging wind, even an isolated tornado, high 71. Partly cloudy tonight, low 48. Intervals of clouds and sun for tomorrow, the high 59. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Cause they got the beat, the campus beat, the campus beat. Yeah, the campus beat.
The average college student today, one professor's perspective. This is over at Hilarious Bookbinder's Substack. Hilarious Bookbinder. I don't think that's his Christian name.
Right.
He writes, I'm Gen X. I was pretty young when I earned my PhD, so I've been a professor for a long time, more than 30 years. If you're not in academia or it's been a while since you were in college, you might not know this. The students are not what they used to be. He says, yeah, I know the knee-jerk response is going to be, Grandpa Simpson cursing the clouds and all this, but people need to know, he writes. I'm assuming it's a he, I don't know. First, some context. I teach at a regional public university in the U.S. Our students are average on just about any dimension you care to name: aspirations, intellect, socioeconomic status, physical fitness. They wear hoodies and yoga pants and like buffalo wings. he goes on to say, look, it's not a
That's
put down. He just says, all I mean is that our students are representative. They're neither the bottom of the academic barrel nor the cream of off the top. As with every college, we get a range of students, and our best philosophy majors have gone on to earn PhDs or go to law school. What I'm describing is the average student at average state university. So, so think of center mass of the 1 in 3 kids that go to college. 1 in 3 graduating seniors that go to college.
I can see it.
Reading. Most of our students are functionally illiterate. This is not a joke. By functionally illiterate, I mean unable to read and comprehend adult novels by people like Barbara Kingsolver, Colson Whitehead, Richard Powers. These are all Pulitzer Prize winners. They are unable to read and comprehend a serious adult novel. And we're not talking here about Finnegan's Wake, he points out. Not that complex. They're just, well written. I'm not saying our students just prefer genre books or graphic novels or whatever. No, our average graduate literally could not read a serious adult novel cover to cover and understand what they read. They just couldn't do it. They don't have the desire to try or the vocabulary to grasp what they read, and most certainly not the attention span to finish. For them to sit down and try to read a book like The Overstory might as well be me attempting an Ironman triathlon. Much suffering, zero chance of success. Sound familiar?
312, yes, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also text us on that very same line.
Students are not absolutely illiterate in the sense of being unable to sound out any words whatsoever. Reading bores them, though. They are impatient to get through whatever burden of reading they have to and move their eyes over the words just to get it done. They're like me clicking through a mandatory online HR training. Students get exam questions. That's a perfect analogy. Students get exam questions wrong simply because they didn't even take the time to read the question properly. Reading anything more than a menu is a chore to be avoided. They also lie about it. I wrote the textbook for a course I regularly teach. It's a fairly popular textbook, so I'm assuming it's not terribly written. I did everything I could to make the writing lively and packed with the most engaging examples. The majority of the students don't read it. Oh, they'll come to my office hours occasionally because they're bombing the course and tell me they've been doing the reading, but it's obvious they're lying. The most charitable interpretation is they looked at some of the words, didn't understand anything, pretended that counted as reading, and then returned to looking at TikTok.
Well, that's the society we've created. I mean, we worked so hard to get our kids off cell phones, and then COVID hit and everything was on a computer.
He gets the phones.
Oh, he does.
A study he references, 65% of college students reported they skipped buying or renting a textbook because of cost. He says, does Professor Bookbinder, in quotes, it's clearly a nom de plume. I believe they didn't buy the books, but I'm skeptical that cost is the true reason, as opposed to the excuse they offer. Yes, I know some texts, especially in the sciences, are expensive. However, the books I assign are low priced. All texts combined for one of my courses is between $35 to $100, and they still don't buy them. Why buy what you aren't going to read anyway? Just Google it. Even in upper division courses that students supposedly take out of genuine interest, they won't read. He's a philosophy professor. I'm teaching existentialism this semester. It's entirely primary text. By the way, these are texts I read in high school. Or authors I read in high school. Dostoevsky, Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Camus, Sartre. The reading ranges from accessible but challenging to extremely difficult, but we're making a go of it anyway. This is a close textual analysis course. My students come to class without the books, which they probably do not own and definitely do not read. It's an interesting way to approach a philosophy course, particularly an upper level one. So that's reading. Writing, their writing skills are at the 8th grade level. Spelling is atrocious, grammar is random, and the correct use of apostrophes is cause for celebration.
Oh my gosh.
Worse is the resistance to original thought. What I mean is the reflexive submission of the cheapest cliche as novel insight. He gives an example. And this was great, especially if you've read it. The exam question. Describe the attitude of Dostoevsky's Underground Man towards acting in one's own self-interest and how this is connected to his concerns about free will. Are his views self-contradictory? The student's answer. With the UGM, Underground Man, acronymized, with the UGM, it's all about our journey in life, not the destination. He got that off a throw pillow in his dorm room. He believes, misspelled, we need to take time to enjoy the little things because, misspelled, life is short and you're never going to know what happens.
No,
sometimes
no misspelled. Instead of K-N-O-W, is it N-O?
No, it's you never gonna.
No,
though.
gonna
know what happens.
Very
sometimes he
Illinoisan.
contradicts himself because sometimes you say one thing, but then you think something else later. It's all relative. You probably think that's satire. It's not. He also talks about cheating, ChatGPT. I've been writing about cheating in why AI is destroying academic integrity. But the cheating tsunami has definitely changed what assignments I give. I can't assign papers anymore because I'll just get AI back and there's nothing I can do to make it stop. Sadly, not writing exacerbates their illiteracy, as writing is a muscle and dedicated writing is a workout for the mind as well as the pen. Okay, so that's reading and writing. And how about arithmetic? I'm less informed to speak on this one, but my math professor friends tell me that their students are increasingly less capable and less willing to put in the effort. As a result, they have to make their tests easier with fewer hard problems. When I was a first semester freshman, I took Calculus 1. Second semester, I took Calculus 2. I don't think pre-calculus was even a thing back then. Now, apparently, pre-calc counts as an advanced content course. My psych professor friends who teach statistics have similarly lamented having to water down the content over time. What's changed, in summary? The average student has seen college as basically transactional for as long as I've been doing this. They go through the motions, maybe learn something along the way, but it's all in service to the only conception of the good life they can imagine, a job with middle-class wages. I mostly made my peace with that and do my best to give them a taste of the life of the mind and celebrate the successes. But things have changed. Chronic absenteeism. As a friend in sociology put it, attendance is a huge problem. Many just treat the class as optional. Last semester, across all sections, my average student missed 2 weeks of class. Actually, it was more than that, since I'm not counting excused absences or students who eventually withdrew. A friend in mathematics told me students are less respectful of the university experience, attendance, lateness, emails to me about nonsense, less of a sense of responsibility. So that's one, chronic absenteeism. Disappearing students. Students routinely just vanish at some point during the semester.
Where do they go?
They don't officially drop or withdraw from the course. They simply quit coming. It's Peter in an office space. I didn't quit. I just stopped coming. No email, no notification to anyone in authority about some problem. They just pull an Amelia Earhart. It's gotten to the point that on the first day of class, especially in the lower division, I tell the students, look to your right, now look to your left. One of you will be gone by the end of the semester. Don't let it be you.
Wow.
Sounds like basic training. What else has changed? They can't sit in a seat for 50 minutes. Students routinely get up during a 15-minute class, sometimes just 15 minutes in, and leave the classroom. I'm supposed to believe they have a suddenly urgent need to use the toilet, but in reality, they're going to look at their phones. They know I'll call them out on in class, so instead they just walk out.
So disrespectful. God, this scares me.
What else has changed? They want me to do their work for them. During the COVID lockdown, faculty bent over backwards in every way we knew how to accommodate students during this unprecedented health crisis. Now students expect that as a matter of routine. I'm frequently asked for my PowerPoint slides, which basically function for me as lecture notes. It's unimaginable to me that I would ever have asked one of my professors for their own lecture notes. No, you can't have my slides. Get the notes from a classmate, read the book, come to office hours for conversation if you're still confused after the preceding steps. Last week, I had an email from a student who essentially asked me to recap the entire week's worth of lecture material for him prior to yesterday's midterm. He said, no, I'm not writing you a 3,000-word email. Try coming to class. I mean, it's just wild stuff. I mean, it's not terribly surprising, but it's still really interesting and disturbing, and also indicative of, why society is off the rails in so many ways. Another thing that's changed: pretending to type notes in their laptops. I hate laptops in class, but if I try to ban them, the students will just run to accommodative services and get them to tell me that the student must use a laptop or they will explode into tiny pieces. But I know for a fact that note-taking is at best a small part of what they're doing. Last semester, I had a good student tell me, hey, you know that kid who sits in front of me with the laptop? Yeah, I thought you should know that all he does in class is gamble on his, on his computer.
Oh, I'm telling you, gambling is going to be the biggest downfall of our society because kids, as young as soon as they can, 10, 12, that I know some kids that are that age, they're gambling.
Yeah, all the online gambling, no question.
I mean, it's frightening. I know another kid, he's 18, and he lost $320 like that. Like, what are you doing? We're practicing here. Get off your phone and stop gambling. And I tell them the stories. I mean, when I worked at KOLD in Tucson, I'm not going to say his name, but our sportscaster there owed some bookies some money. Mm-hmm. So walking out to the parking lot, what do you think they did? Bashed his knees in with a baseball bat. I tell him that story, and then it almost happened at Channel 5. With
is that a real story, or are you just
no?
Like,
I'm
did
telling
you watch
No, this is a real story.
It's not from a Martin Scorsese movie that you thought happened to you.
And and then we had a producer at Channel 5. He was addicted. He can't even play bingo. He can't play fantasy football. He can't do anything because he gambled. He was down, I think, $40,000. His mom had to come in and save him. But he, it's an addiction. It's bad. It is serious. And he was about to get his knees bashed in, but mom came in to help him. But he can't do anything. He can't play rock, paper, scissors, Dan. Can't do any of that.
Yeah. Okay. I get it. The gambling's an issue.
Well,
got it.
Yeah.
Other changes, according to this professor.
Yes, back to the
Mr.
professor.
Bookbinder. Indifference. Like everyone else, I allow students to make up missed work if they have an excused absence. No, you can't make up the midterm because you were hungover or slept through your alarm, but you can if you had COVID. Then they just don't show up. A missed quiz from a month ago might as well have happened in the Stone Age. Students can't be bothered to make it up or even talk to me about it because they just don't care. Then he also says it's the phone, stupid. They're absolutely addicted to their phones. When I go work out at the campus rec center, easily half the students there are just sitting on the machine scrolling on their phones.
That's so true.
I was talking with a retired faculty member at the rec this morning who works out all the time. He said he has done 6 sets waiting for a student to put down their phone and get off the machine he wanted. And he goes on sort of in summary to say, look, I don't blame K through 12 teachers. This is not an educational system problem. It's a societal problem. Well, I'd say it's a combination of the two. But anyway, what am I supposed to do? Keep standards high and fail them all? That's not an option for untenured faculty who would like to keep their jobs. I'm a tenured full professor. I could probably get away with that for a while, but sooner or later, the dean's going to bring me in for a sit-down. Plus, if we flunk out half the student body and drive the university into bankruptcy, all we're doing is depriving the good students of an education. We're told to meet the students where they are. Flip the classroom, use multimedia, just be more entertaining, get better. As if rearranging the deck chairs just the right way will stop the Titanic from going down. As if it is somehow the fault of the faculty. It's not our fault. We're doing the best we can with what we've been given. All this may sound like an angry rant. I'm not sure. I'm not angry, though. Not at all. I'm just sad. One thing all faculty have to learn is that the students are not us. We can't expect them to all burn with the sacred fire we have for our disciplines to see philosophy, psychology, math, physics, sociology, or economics as the divine light of reason in a world of shadow. Our job is to kindle that flame, and we're trying to get that spark to catch, but it's getting harder and harder, and we don't know what to do. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, ditto for almost all those things. I have a few things that I do to manage the class. In my syllabus, I list everything electronic is not allowed if you touch your phone. I even list if things get invented this semester that aren't there, that don't exist yet, and it's electronic and you bring it. It's pre-banned. Kind of like a pre-pardon. And I don't tolerate it. If they have the giant Dr. Dre headphones on the head, No, make them go away. No phones. You touch a phone, you touch a watch, you lose points for the day. I'm forced to take attendance every day like they're children in grade school, and it's all for points. What I say is if you touch anything electronic or if I have to tell you about it, you lose points for the day. Whatever we were earning that day, it's gone. One quick story, there's a kid who's been in this is now the second class I've had him in. He's an absolute mama's boy and one of those where he can do no wrong. Like his face goes up at the scene of the double murder. The police are talking. She'd be like, no, he's a good boy. He wouldn't do that. He came in, wanted to sleep. I said, you want to sleep? Go lay in the hall. And he said, no, I'm just hungry. So I asked the class if anybody had a snack they could share with him, because he's hungry. And nobody wanted to contribute a snack. So I told him, sorry, your classmates don't want to help you out with a snack. Maybe you should go out in the hallway and find food and take a nap. Otherwise, you're expected to, sit here and contribute. Yeah, big problem. And I kicked him out of a video conference for a gift prior to spring break. I said, look, let's do this one class on video, short lecture, we'll be done with it. He showed up. Of course, I have to have a whole list of things that are required. Your camera must be on. I must see you in your camera, because some of the folks tilt their laptops up so the camera points at the ceiling. I don't care about the ceiling. I got to see you. He was there in a completely dark room, so you couldn't see anything. And so I kicked him out. Like, boom, you're gone. And, of course, he writes a letter to the dean saying that I am picking on him. And, I talked to the dean, and actually the dean, when the kid got added to my class, I said, the kid's a dipstick. What'd you do that for? He goes, oh, that guy? Yeah, he's legend. Why do you coddle these people?
Yeah.
Dan and Amy, it is so bad. They're so stupid. They are so lazy. And I'll tell you, the only thing the administration cares about, honest to God, is retention. We spend more time talking about retention rates in faculty meetings. It's unbelievable. It's like, you know what? Why don't you make school hard? Why don't we make sure that they learn something? Why don't we make sure that the degree is valuable? And, I think the attendance and the student body will take care of themselves. End of rant. I could go on for a full half-hour segment. You'd never allow me that. But the stories, it's unbelievable how lazy, and AI is the death of mankind. These people are so lazy. All this crap I get is AI. Even the plagiarism checkers now have AI, like AI screening tools
to get around it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but they're not that great, So, anyway.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Appreciate it. Yeah. Jim and Wilmette.
Hi. I think a quick comment and a question. The comment is I really think we lost the education system during the pandemic when all the kids were put on iPads and had to work from home. The teaching was bad. The learning was bad. I sat and listened to idiocy coming through my kid's iPad from his so-called AP classes, where there was nothing demanded of them, and kids were not even paying attention. So that's who we're sending to college. And then my question is, if all of this is so, and the kids are so incapable, on the other side of the coin, it is now absolutely ridiculously hard to get in to a decent college. What used to be middle-level, safer schools, kids are getting rejected from. Good students are getting rejected from U of I and not getting in. It's like this disconnect. If they're so unprepared and bad, then why is it so difficult to get in? Because you'd think good students would have an edge. And I think it's because we're not measuring. There's no real meritocracy happening. But I welcome your comment.
Thanks for the call, Jim. That's interesting. We're not measuring. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly happening at some schools. And, and all this DEI stuff, too. Jason Riley has a good piece on DEI. Rich Lowry mentioned Michigan eliminating their department, their DEI office. But But he characterizes this as a tactical withdrawal. What you see colleges doing is a tactical withdrawal in the face of Trump. But if the federal government's leadership changes, they'll be right back to doing what they were doing pre-Trump because that's their ideological disposition. So I think it's a combination of things. I think that obviously there's always going to be the best and the brightest. And so it's going to be very competitive at the top 30 to 50 universities. And then there's everybody else. And then the other thing, that's a pretty good insight, I think, probably in terms of not measuring. And that's part of it as well, why you get a mixed bag even at some of the best colleges, as we have seen in spectacular fashion over the last several years. But it's just a huge problem. The facade of higher education that is belied by the reality of what's going on, and it requires ongoing attention. I mean, if you think these institutions are important to Western civilization and to America's future, which I certainly do.
All right. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Today it's going to be raining. It's going to be windy, possibility of a tornado, damaging wind gusts, hail, all that good stuff. But warmer, a high of 71 degrees. And then maybe we'll see the sun. Dan, is it nice to see the sunshine, by the way, out there in Florida?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, must be nice.
It's the Sunshine State. I don't know if you've heard.
Oh, that's right. And then tomorrow it's going to be maybe some sunshine and a high of 60. It is now 9 a.m. WIND Chicago.
Subtraction.